Chapter 183. This group of people was actually Yi Yuxuan. He was wearing an azure alchemist's robe. Behind him were Yi Shanshan and the guards who escorted Yi Jioge to Alchemy City. When the crown prince saw Yi Yuxuan, his eyes immediately lit up and he hurriedly greeted, "Grandmaster Yi, you're here too." Yi Yuxuan came to the crown prince's side and looked at Ouyang Sen, then said, "Pill Master Ouyang, I heard you killed a heretic outside the city?" "Yes." Ouyang Sen nodded, his attitude extremely respectful. As a pill refiner he could look down on the crown prince, but he couldn't look down on the level 5 pill refiner, Yi Yuxuan. "I wonder if Pill Master Ouyang can let me deal with this heretic's corpse? You know, my daughter Yi Jioge was bewitched by a heretic and killed innocent people. She practiced heretic arts and committed a grave mistake. I've been looking for her, this heretic's corpse might give me some clues." Yi Yuxuan said righteously like a master. However, he had said that in front of so many people, which made Yi Jioge the scapegoat of the head of the evil cultivators. Ouyang Sen didn't say anything. Yi Yu and the others on the other hand were furious. Yi Jioge almost exploded on the spot. If she just wanted to slap Su Junqing, then she wanted to stab Yi Yuxuan now. This scum of a father is really scum. "Grandmaster Yi, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. You keep saying that your daughter Yi Jioge practices heretic arts, but do you have any proof?" Yi Jioge suppressed her anger and questioned. "Humph, it's the first time in my life that I've seen someone hurrying to put the blame on his own daughter. Do you really see Yi Jioge as your daughter?" Bai Songling's words were even sharper. Grandmaster Yi frowned, but he didn't fly into a rage like he usually did. In order to maintain his image as a master, he said calmly, "It's because Yi Jioge is my daughter that I can't let her make mistakes again and again. Actually, when she came back from the abyss a while ago, I already noticed something was wrong with her. It's just that I cared about my family and refused to investigate. I didn't expect her to be so deranged, taking advantage of the alchemy competition to harm other spirit pill masters. It's really intolerable." As Yi Yuxuan finished speaking, he felt both pain and regret. His excited expression made it seem as if he was about to faint at any time. That's right. Father couldn't sleep for Big Sister. He ignored the danger of the heretical cultivators and rushed to Alchemy City in the middle of the night. He wanted to find Big Sister and persuade her to turn herself in and give the people of the world an explanation. Yi Shanshan supported Yi Yuxuan with a sorrowful expression on her delicate face. The father-daughter duo teamed up to put on a show, causing the surrounding commoners to curse Yi Jioge for being deranged and worse than pigs and dogs. Yi Jioge slowly clenched his fist. "Endure, I will definitely endure." When the truth was revealed, Yi Yuxuan would naturally regret what he had done today. Yi Yuxuan didn't know that his eldest daughter, Yi Jioge, was standing right in front of him. Taking advantage of the crowd's excitement, he once again spoke to Ouyang Sen. "Pill Master Ouyang, we all understand your painstaking efforts. Please understand my feelings and let me handle this heretical cultivator's corpse." "That's right, Pill Master Ouyang. Father and I both want to find Big Sister as soon as possible to prevent her from doing more wrong." Yi Shanshan also chimed in. "That's right." Ouyang Sen suddenly felt a bit awkward. He had cooperated with Yi Yu and the others. In fact, he had already guessed that they were chasing after the heretical cultivator to clear Yi Jioge's name. However, Yi Jioge's biological father came here and announced that he wanted to clean up the sect. "Pill Master Ouyang, don't worry. I just want to borrow this heretical cultivator's corpse to take a look. I definitely won't steal your credit." Yi Yuxuan finished speaking and gave Guard Pan a look. Guard Pan nodded in understanding and brought the other guards forward to snatch Jiang Xingjia's corpse from Bai Songling's hands. Bai Songling, Jun Yichen, Luo Tian, Yi Yu, and the others all gathered together as if they were facing a great enemy. It wasn't easy for them to obtain Jiang Xingjia's corpse. They absolutely couldn't give it to anyone else. Just as Guard Pan was about to make his move, a clear and pleasant voice suddenly rang out. Wait. Guard Pan was startled. He felt that the voice was somewhat familiar. However, when he looked over, he realized that the person who spoke was an ordinary-looking, skinny young man. Young master. Bai Songling shouted anxiously. Now was not the time to reveal his true identity. Yi Jioge took a step forward and stood in front of Yi Yuxuan and Yi Shanshan. He said fiercely, "This pair of blind father and daughter are distorting the truth in front of me. If I continue to endure it, I won't be human anymore." Your big sister?" Yi Shanshan finally recognized Yi Jioge's voice. "That's right." Yi Jioge wiped his face with his hand, revealing his beautiful and moving face. The crowd was in an uproar. They didn't expect that the leader of the heretical cultivators, Yi Jioge, would dare to appear in front of them. What was even more unexpected was that this vicious demoness turned out to be a delicate, beautiful, and lovely young girl. "Evil girl, you still dare to appear here?" Yi Yuxuan raised his hand, pointed at Yi Jioge and scolded. "Why can't I appear here?" Yi Jioge sneered and said, "In order to clear my name, I spent a lot of effort to kill a heretical cultivator. I didn't expect that my good father would indiscriminately announce in Shangjing that he and I are no longer father and daughter. Now you've come all the way here to kill me. I really want to know what benefits the heretical cultivators gave you to push me out to be their scapegoat. What nonsense are you talking about? You're clearly the one who colluded with the heretical cultivators. How dare you splash dirty water on them?" Yi Yuxuan was furious. "If I colluded with the heretical cultivators, why would I kill them?" Yi Jioge asked sharply. Who knows if you're up to some tricks again." Yi Yuxuan's face was very ugly. Yi Jioge's chest violently heaved up and down. She felt a breath stuck in her chest. She forcefully closed her eyes. After suppressing the pressure, she said to Yi Yuxuan in a hoarse voice, "Father, this is the last time I'll call you that. I know you don't like it, but I didn't know you hate me so much. Such a big thing happened and you didn't even give me a chance to explain. You just decided that I'm a murderer who committed a heinous crime, and even helped outsiders harm me. Do you really want to force me to death?" Yi Jioge's tears followed her hoarse voice and quietly flowed down her pure white cheeks. Her words were sharp, like a hedgehog with all the spikes on her body, without the slightest bit of weakness. Because of this, her tears seemed so real, so sad and heartbreaking. Chapter 184. The eyes of the surrounding people, including the ants, young women and girls, couldn't help but turn red. They couldn't help but think, if it was them, what would it feel like to be accused by their own father in the street, determined that they were a heinous murderer, and wanted to kill them together with outsiders. Many of the more delicate ones even shed tears and looked at Yi Jioge with sympathy. Sigh, how could there be such a cruel father in this world? Yeah, this Yi Jioge looks like he's only a teenager, how could he be the head of the evil cultivators? That's right, if he really is the head of the evil cultivators, how could he dare to appear in front of us like this? Of course, there were also different voices. You can't know a person's face even if he's young, he can't be the head of the evil cultivators? Even if Yi Jioge is really the head of the evil cultivators as a father, isn't it even more heinous? That's right, it's the father's fault for not teaching his son. The daughter will come to this point and the father will not be any better. No matter what, we can't let the child die without even a chance to explain. What if it's really a misunderstanding? Everyone began to discuss. Regardless of whether they agreed that Yi Jioge was the head of the evil cultivators or not, they all agreed that Yi Jioge was wrong, and as a father he was even more wrong. Yi Yuxuan listened to the discussion in his ears, and his face turned green and white. He originally thought that he would be praised by everyone for putting righteousness before his family, but he didn't expect that someone would put the crime of not teaching his father's fault on his head. However, he couldn't refute it. It was really suffocating. Seeing that the people were discussing, the crown prince was worried that there would be changes if the matter dragged on, so he quickly shouted, "Come, take Yi Jioge, the head of the evil cultivators, and put him in prison." The soldiers behind him immediately surrounded him and were about to take him. Hu Lin had already secretly hidden himself after Yi Jioge revealed his identity. Xia Qinfeng also didn't want to get involved in such a quagmire, so he pulled Ouyangsen to the side. Su Junqing took the opportunity to quietly sneak to Bai Songling's side. Suddenly he stretched out his hand to grab the black cloth bag. Bai Songling had long been on guard against a sneak attack. Countless green vines suddenly rose from his body and tightly bound the black cloth bag. Luo Tian, who was standing beside him, threw a punch at Su Junqing and started fighting with him. Yi Yu couldn't sneak into the shadows, so he teamed up with Jun Yichen to guard Yi Jioge and deal with the crown prince's bodyguards. Yi Yuxuan was determined to clean up the mess, so he jumped onto the battlefield and personally attacked Yi Jioge. His cultivation was close to the spirit master level, 2 realms higher than Yi Jioge. The wood and fire spiritual energies fused together, revealing a greenish-red color. Once it was unleashed, it emitted surging hot air. Yi Jioge didn't think that his scumbag father would be merciful to him. He immediately pulled out the Thunder Snake illusion whip from his waist and lashed it at Yi Yuxuan. The purple lightning snake collided with the green and red flames, but the purple lightning snake lost. Yi Yuxuan gained the upper hand, but he didn't feel any joy. Instead, he was incomparably shocked. He had never imagined that this useless daughter of his would be so powerful. He was actually able to block his full power attack. Yi Yuxuan's eyes fell on the thunder snake illusion whip in Yi Jioga's hand. He was certain that this high-rank spiritual weapon was supporting him. Greed rose in his heart and he didn't hold back anymore. At this time, Bai Songling and the others were also fighting with Su Juanqing's group. The scene was extremely chaotic. Many commoners who were standing nearby were caught in the crossfire and suffered light injuries. Bai Songling retreated to Yi Jioga's side and said, "Miss, we can't go on like this. We should quickly retreat. Let's go." Yi Jioga also didn't want to fight with Yi Yuxuan. If he killed him, he would be charged with patricide. Even if he cleared his name as the head of the evil cultivators, his reputation wouldn't be good in the future. Just when Yi Jioga and the others were about to abandon Jiang Xingjia's corpse and take the opportunity to retreat, a pressure enveloped them, followed by a loud roar. "Who allowed you to fight in Alchemy City?" After saying that, a skinny figure descended. It was the city lord of Alchemy City, a 6th-rank alchemist, Dongfang Yao. Dongfang Yao grabbed Yi Yuxuan, who was in the middle of attacking Yi Jioga, and threw him away. Seeing that the situation wasn't good, Su Juanqing quickly retreated to the Crown Prince's side. "Royal uncle, you finally came." The Crown Prince quickly said, "Yi Jioga trespassed into Alchemy City. We were just about to arrest her, hurry up and take her down." Dongfang Yao turned around and coldly stared at the Crown Prince. "Who gave you the right to arrest someone?" The Crown Prince was startled and immediately felt a bit embarrassed, but he still braced himself and said, "Yi Jioga is the head of the evil cultivators. Everyone has the right to punish him, so why should I arrest her?" "Who told you that Yi Jioga is the head of the evil cultivators?" Dongfang Yao glared at him and asked. "Isn't this something that everyone knows?" The Crown Prince spoke as if it was a matter of fact. "Everyone knows? Then why don't I know?" Dongfang Yao's expression sank and he spoke with dissatisfaction. "I don't remember Alchemy City posting a wanted poster for Yi Jioga." "Royal uncle, you've always been in seclusion, so it's normal that you don't know." The Crown Prince began to feel that something was wrong. "Are you implying that I'm muddle-headed?" Dongfang Yao's expression was very unfriendly. "This nephew doesn't dare." The Crown Prince quickly shook his head. He knew that his uncle was biased towards Yi Jioga, but he didn't think it would be to this extent. Just as he was about to take out the evidence, he heard Dongfang Yao impatiently say, "If you don't dare, then shut up." "Royal uncle." The Crown Prince angrily shouted. He really didn't understand. He was the one with the surname Dongfang, so why did his uncle favor Yi Jioga and not put him in his eyes? Dongfang Yao was too lazy to pay attention to his short-sighted, unscrupulous and evil nephew. He looked at Yi Jioga and said, "I heard you guys killed a heretic cultivator." "That's right, this heretic is an expert in disguise. He peeled off a lot of human skins and used the flesh regrowing technique to fuse them together, then tricked the spirit practitioners participating in the alchemy competition." With that, Yi Jioga waved his hand towards Bai Songling. Bai Songling opened a black bag and poured out Jiang Xingjia's corpse and the skins. The surrounding crowd was in an uproar. Although the rumor of heretic cultivators liking to kill people and skin them had spread like wildfire in Alchemy City, this was the first time the commoners had seen it with their own eyes. With so many skins, everyone was trembling with fear. The Crown Prince felt his hands and feet go cold. He couldn't help but look at Su Juanqing. Su Juanqing was quite calm. After all, Jiang Xingjia was already a dead man, so there was no way he would sell him out. He took out a gray disc and placed it on top of Jiang Xingjia's corpse to carefully examine it. This was a magic tool developed by Alchemy City to detect heretic aura, but it didn't react at all. Ecstatic, he quickly told the Crown Prince, "Your Highness, this person doesn't have the slightest bit of heretic aura. He's not a heretic at all." Chapter 185. The Crown Prince hurriedly looked at the gray disc. Seeing that there was no reaction, he immediately became spirited. He glared at Yi Jioga and scolded arrogantly, "Yi Jioga, you mixed an ordinary person's corpse with a pile of human skin to pretend to be an evil cultivator. What do you mean by that?" Yi Jioga couldn't be bothered to explain to the Crown Prince and only said, "He's a heretic cultivator." "Bullshit, do you think I'm blind?" The evil testing disc didn't react at all. After the Crown Prince scolded Yi Jioga, he turned to Dongfang Yao and said, "Imperial uncle, you've been tricked by Yi Jioga. She's a liar." Dongfang Yao frowned slightly. After muttering to himself for a moment, he took out a bottle of white liquid and said to the Crown Prince, "This is the evil testing water I made. If this person's body really has evil aura, the water will turn gray." After saying that, he poured some onto Jiang Xingjia's body. The white and transparent potion turned into an extremely light gray color. Dongfang Yao's heart sank. If this person was really a heretical cultivator, then the potion would turn black. The darker the color, the higher the cultivation. Master Dongfang, this person's corpse has been living with so many human skins, so it's normal for it to be tainted with some evil energy. This kind of change doesn't prove that he's an evil cultivator. No matter what, Yi Yuxuan was a level 5 alchemist, and he had concocted the evil testing water before. Big sister, even if you want to clear your name, you can't use an innocent person to pretend to be a heretic. Yi Shanshan looked at Yi Jioge with a pained expression. You evil girl, you refuse to mend your ways even after repeated admonitions. Today I'm going to get rid of you. Yi Yuxuan's hand once again lit up with a green and red flame, as if he was going to kill Yi Jioge at any time. Wait. Dongfang Yao raised his hand and said sternly, there's something strange about this evil cultivator's corpse. Apothecary Dongfang, I respect you as a master, but why are you helping Yi Jioge so many times? Yi Yuxuan narrowed his eyes and looked at Dongfang Yao suspiciously, as if he suspected that they had some sort of shameful secret. After all, Yi Jioge's face was very beautiful. Dongfang Yao was originally a straightforward person, so he almost exploded from Yi Yuxuan's gaze. He and Yunwei were of the same generation, but Yi Jioge still had to call her grandpa. He suspected that the two of them had an ambiguous relationship, which was simply pointing at his nose and scolding him for not being a respectable old man. Yi Jioge, on the other hand, was indifferent as he coldly said, I thought that Grandmaster Yi, as a 5th-level alchemist, would be able to see through the mysteries of this corpse, but I didn't expect you to be completely ignorant. I don't know where you got the title of Grandmaster from, you are simply fishing for fame. Yi Jioge, do you know who you're talking to? Yi Yuxuan scolded fiercely. Of course I know. I'm talking to an ungrateful, heartless scum. Yi Jioge's words were like knives stabbing into Yi Yuxuan's heart. As soon as these words came out of her mouth, the crowd burst into an uproar. Although Azure Billow Continent didn't pay particular attention to filial piety, it was unheard of for a daughter to insult her father in public. Yi Yuxuan was so angry that his entire body trembled. He really regretted strangling Yi Jioge to death in her swaddling clothes so that she wouldn't be so infuriating when she grew up. Well said. Dongfang Yao clapped his hands and praised, this Yi Yuxuan relied on your father and mother to make a fortune in the past, but now he wants to exterminate you. This kind of father is worse than a beast, you don't need him. Dongfang Yao had been operating in Alchemy City for so many years and was highly respected. He approved of Yi Jioge's actions. The surrounding commoners immediately changed their tone from condemning Yi Jioge for being unfilial to praising her for fighting against evil. Yi Jioge's expression was indifferent. She didn't show any reaction to these discussions. Instead, she turned to Dongfang Yao and said, Grandmaster Dongfang, this evil cultivator has an artifact that can restrain evil energy inside his body, so your medicine is useless. After she finished speaking, she raised her chin towards Bai Songling. Bai Songling understood and turned Jiang Xingjie over. She took out a sharp knife and cut open the skin on Jiang Xingjie's back, digging out a palm-sized red artifact that was engraved with countless talismans. As soon as the artifact was dug out, Jiang Xingjie's slightly black skin immediately turned white and green. The gray disc in Su Juanqing's hand crazily spun. The medicine that Dongfang Yao poured on Jiang Xingjie's corpse also turned black and gray. He really is an evil cultivator. The surrounding commoners were shocked by this turn of events and began to discuss among themselves. Let me take a look at this artifact. Dongfang Yao said to Bai Songling. Wait a moment. Bai Songling tore off the hem of his robe and wiped the blood off the artifact. Hu Lin, who was hiding to the side earlier, came over again. He eagerly took out a water ball and flatteringly said to Bai Songling, Do you want to wash it again? Wash it. Bai Songling had long known that Hu Lin was a coward, so she didn't care about his desertion just now. After washing the artifact clean, Hu Lin casually accepted it and respectfully presented it to Dongfang Yao. Dongfang Yao carefully examined it and infused his spirit energy into it. His expression became a bit heavy. This was a 3rd-rank artifact with a special function that could only be created by a 5th-rank blacksmith. Only the crafting school had 5th-rank blacksmiths. Could it be that the crafting school was in cahoots with the evil cultivators? If that was the case, then it was really troublesome. Dongfang Yao's mind was filled with countless thoughts, but his face didn't show any abnormal expression. After putting away the artifact, he said to Yi Jioge, The truth has come to light. Your injustice has finally been cleared. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you, Grandmaster Dongfang, for believing in my innocence. Yi Jioge solemnly expressed her thanks. She was truly grateful to Dongfang Yao. If Dongfang Yao also believed that she was the head of the evil cultivators like the others, she wouldn't have been able to clear her name so easily. Even if I don't believe you, I still have to believe old man Yun. How could his only granddaughter become a head of evil cultivators? Is being a head of evil cultivators more profitable than being a spirit pill master? Dongfang Yao laughed. When the others heard this, they couldn't help but laugh out loud as well, all of them discussing. That's right, our Thunder Country respects spirit masters, followed by alchemists. A spirit alchemist who can cultivate both to the extreme will definitely have a bright future in Thunder Country. Only a fool would want to become the leader of the evil cultivators. Yi Yuxuan, seeing that your daughter's injustice has been cleared, why do you look so disappointed? Dongfang Yao changed the topic to Yi Yuxuan, who was standing to the side. Grandmaster Dongfang really likes to joke. Jioga is my daughter. How could I be disappointed that she has been cleared of injustice? I can't even be happy for her. Yi Yuxuan forced out a smile. He now deeply regretted listening to Yi Shanshan's instigation and coming to Alchemy City to put justice before family, causing him to lose so much face. Chapter 186. Big sister, congratulations on recovering your innocence. I'm really happy for you. Seeing that the situation was bad, Yi Shanshan immediately stepped forward and wanted to pull Yi Jioga's hand. However, Yi Jioga avoided her hand and said expressionlessly, "That's not what you said earlier. Big sister, are you still blaming me?" Yi Shanshan had a wronged expression and said tearfully, "I was worried about you, so I mistakenly believed the rumors. It's all my fault. Big sister, if you want to blame me, then beat me up to vent your anger. I won't dare to have any complaints." "Jioga, your sister is just worried that you'll go astray," Yi Yuxuan said with the dignity of a father. "Although you've cleared your name this time, if you hadn't acted rashly, you wouldn't have fallen into the evil cultivator's trap so easily. You should take this as a warning and be careful in the future." Grandmaster Yi is right. I will remember your teachings. Yi Jioga looked straight into Yi Yuxuan's eyes and said word by word. Hearing the words Grandmaster Yi Yuxuan immediately frowned. Although he hated Yi Jioga, if Yi Jioga still went against him in such a situation, it would be a great loss of face for him. Thus Yi Yuxuan put on a stern face and said, "Father misunderstood you this time. It's father's fault. Do you still want to argue with me? Big sister, we're family. Broken bones connect tendons. Father is doing this for your own good. He's worried that you'll go astray, so he hurried over. Actually, he's always been thinking about you." Yi Shanshan's eyes were slightly red and she felt wronged. There's no need to say any more. Grandmaster Ye's words always carry weight. Since you've already posted the Qianxia board and cut off your relationship as father and daughter, there's no need to force yourself to repair it. From now on we'll go our separate ways. Whether I, Yi Jioga, live or die has nothing to do with you. Yi Jioga's cold voice wasn't loud, but it clearly reached everyone's ears. The surrounding crowd was silent and looked at Yi Yuxuan with a gloating expression. You deserve it. Who told you to confuse right and wrong, to be heartless and to hurt your daughter's heart? Yi Yuxuan's face was ashen. He had never felt so humiliated in his life. He really wanted to slap Yi Jioga and drag her back to teach her a lesson. Unfortunately, he could only think about it. Yi Jioga didn't care about what Yi Yuxuan was thinking. He turned around and said to Dongfang Yao, "Master Dongfang, I still have some matters regarding evil cultivators that I want to discuss with you. How about we go to the medicine refining tower?" "Sure." Dongfang Yao nodded, then glanced disdainfully at Yi Yuxuan, whose face was as black as the bottom of a pot, then left with Yi Jioga and the others. Ouyangxin, Xia Qinfeng and Hu Lin hurriedly followed. In the blink of an eye, only the Crown Prince, Su Junqing, Yi Yuxuan, and Yi Shanshan were left. "Father, big sister is too heartless. How can she cut off our relationship just like that? We are a family." Yi Shanshan's face was anxious and sad, but in fact she wanted to take the opportunity to give Yi Yuxuan a hard time. However, Yi Yuxuan's face was ashen. He glared at her fiercely and scolded, "You're a useless thing." With that he flicked his sleeves and left. Yi Shanshan wanted to chase after him, but she felt that it was too unsightly, so she stopped and looked at the Crown Prince with an aggrieved expression. The reason why she wrote a letter to encourage her father to clean up the family was also because of the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince's face was flushed red. He didn't notice Yi Shanshan's expression at all. His ears were filled with the voices of the common people, as if they were saying how incompetent he was. He really couldn't understand. Yi Jioga had clearly been forced into a desperate situation by them, so how could he turn the tables so easily? "Crown Prince, let's go back. Su Junqing said in a low voice, "At a time like this, we have to keep our composure. Let's go." The crown prince turned around and led his people back to the medicine refining building. Yi Shanshan hurriedly followed the crown prince back to the medicine refining building's rising sky pavilion. She originally wanted to discuss with the crown prince what to do next. Unexpectedly, the crown prince didn't have the time to pay attention to her. He went to the study with Su Junqing and even had people guard the door, preventing her from entering. At this moment, Yi Shanshan's mood was ashamed, angry and hateful. The crown prince was her good match and Su Junqing was her cousin. These two people should be very close to her, but they both rejected her at the same time, making her deeply feel that she was not trusted. Unfortunately, she didn't have the courage to rush into the study and cause a ruckus. She could only leave indignantly. The crown prince lost his temper in the study. He pointed at Su Junqing and cursed, "Su Junqing, what the hell are you doing? Didn't you say that Yi Jioge is dead for sure? But now, she's the hero who killed the heretic cultivator and the imperial uncle favors her. I'm the clown, the biggest joke of the Thunder Country. Crown Prince, please quell your anger. Yi Jioge's name is only temporarily cleared, and it won't affect our grand plan much. The Thunder Country's side is more or less done, and the throne will belong to you. Why must you waste so much effort on Yi Jioge?" Su Junqing calmly persuaded. "Really? The arrangements in the capital are more or less done." The crown prince's eyes brightened. "That's right. Once the matter with Alchemy City is over, you will become the next emperor of the Thunder Country." Su Junqing spoke without hesitation. Good. As long as you work well for me, I won't mistreat you." The crown prince excitedly patted Su Junqing's shoulder with a face full of satisfaction. "Thank you for your appreciation, Your Highness. This subordinate will go now." Su Junqing smiled in a flattering manner. "Go." The crown prince waved his hand in satisfaction. Su Junqing respectfully bowed before returning to his room. His face, which was full of confidence just a moment ago, immediately became anxious and uneasy. He took out a communication talisman and sent a message, "Senior, old Jiang is dead. Come back as soon as you hear the news." After burning the communication talisman, he was still worried. He walked around the room a few times and after thinking for a while, he took out some ointment to disguise himself as a handsome middle-aged man. He went to the medicine refining pavilion and told the guard that he wanted to see Zhang Peng. "May I ask who you are?" The guard looked at Su Junqing in confusion. "I am his father." Su Junqing smiled. "So it is Uncle Zhang. Please wait a moment, I will call someone over." The guard's expression immediately became one of flattery. Zhang Peng was the third most important person in the alchemy pavilion, second only to Li Zijuan. After a while, a young man in white with regular features walked out. When he saw Su Junqing, he said eagerly, "Father, how come you have the time to look for me?" "I was just passing by, so I came to see you." Su Junqing kindly replied. "Father, come sit here." Zhang Peng brought Su Junqing to a secluded place before whispering, "The situation is so tense right now, why did you come to see me?" Chapter 187. I had no choice. It was an emergency, so I had to find you. Do you know what Yi Jioge said to Dongfang Yao when he returned? Su Junqing asked. He had spent a lot of effort, money and spells to win over Zhang Peng. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he didn't want to use this chess piece. But now that old Jiang was killed and Lu Yunfei was missing, he was a little anxious. They are still discussing in the tea room. Aside from Li Zijuan, no one else can enter. Zhang Peng's handsome face flashed with jealousy when he mentioned Li Zijuan. He believed that whether it was cultivation, character, or alchemy skills, he was no worse than Li Zijuan. However, Grandmaster Dongfang favored Li Zijuan. Not only did he accept him as his last disciple, but he also handed over all matters of the alchemy pavilion to him. Zhang Peng had stayed in the pavilion for more than 20 years and put in a lot of effort, but he was still an honorary disciple. He would forever be below Li Zijuan. He couldn't accept this. As long as you investigate their next move, Li Zijuan won't live for long. At that time, you will be the first disciple of the alchemy pavilion. Su Junqing tempted him. He had made use of Zhang Peng's hatred towards Li Zijuan to win him over. Okay, I will inform you if there is any news. Zhang Peng nodded and returned to the pavilion. At this time, Yi Jioge, Dongfang Yao and Li Zijuan were sitting in the tea room discussing how to deal with bloodthirst. She told Dongfang Yao and Li Zijuan all the information she knew about bloodthirsty sect, including the methods they often used. According to you, bloodthirst is stirring up trouble in Alchemy City because he wants to use me as a bait? Dongfang Yao raised his brows. Yes. Yi Jiuge nodded. This bloodthirst is quite daring. Dongfang Yao sneered. He had been famous for a long time and was a top character in the Thunder Nation. Now he was being used as a bait by a heretical cultivator. This was a great insult to him. This bloodthirst is ruthless and has many tricks up his sleeves. Grandmaster Dongfang, you must not be careless. Yi Jiuge solemnly advised. Humph, if he came here personally I would be a little afraid. But he wants to take me down by sending a few evil cultivators? He's looking down on me too much. Dongfang Yao was truly enraged. He turned to Li Zijuan and said, pass down my orders. Offer a reward of 1,000 gold coins for any clues leading to the heretical cultivators and 10,000 words for their heads. Then send out all the guards of Alchemy City. We must find the bloodthirsty sect's heretical cultivators and kill them all. Yes. Li Zijuan nodded, then asked hesitantly, what about the Crown Prince and Su Junqing? Don't touch them yet. Send someone to keep an eye on them. After I eradicate the remnants of the bloodthirsty sect, I will personally send Dongfang Jiaming, this blind fool, back to Shangjing to be punished by his father, Dongfang Yao said fiercely. How did their Dongfang family produce such a muddle-headed thing? He actually mixed with evil cultivators. He must be tired of living. I understand. Li Zijuan nodded solemnly. Yi Jiuge frowned and disagreed. Grandmaster, Su Junqing is a sinister and cunning person with many tricks up his sleeve. I'm afraid it's not good to leave him alone. I think it's better to lock him up first. It would be even better if they could immediately announce Su Junqing's identity as a heretical cultivator. That way they wouldn't have to worry about him using the bewitching art again. I know what to do. You don't need to say anything more. Dongfang Yao shook his head. The Su family had deep roots in Shangjing and was deeply involved with the Crown Prince. If they rashly captured Su Junqing, he was afraid that the Crown Prince would be dragged into this. No matter how hateful the Crown Prince was, he was still a member of the Dongfang family. If the scandal of him colluding with heretical cultivators was exposed, it would have a great impact on the Dongfang family and might even shake the hearts of the people. As a member of the Dongfang family, he had to think more about the family. Yi Jiuge saw that Dongfang Yao had already said this much and didn't say anything else. Instead, he asked Li Zijuan about the matter of trapping Lu Yunfei. Senior apprentice Brother Li, you made such a thorough plan last night. How did Brother Wan get injured? Last night, we used the treasure-seeking scorpion that you gave us to lure Lu Yunfei over. However, that woman was indeed powerful. She killed many of our people and injured Brother Wan. In the end, we couldn't stop her and even the treasure-seeking scorpion was stolen by her. Li Zijuan lowered his head and said in shame. It was because of this that he invited his master out and let his master personally take charge of the situation. Lu Yunfei is the direct disciple of the bloodthirsty ancestor. She has many treasures on her. It's normal that you didn't check the corpse. Yi Jiuge comforted him with good intentions. Normal my ass. Dongfang Yao glared at Li Zijuan and scolded, what did I tell you before? Don't just bury yourself in cultivating alchemy all day. You also need to take care of your spiritual techniques. Last night, if it wasn't for Wan Ziang blocking a palm for you, you would have lost your life. Don't think that you can protect yourself just because you have a lot of spirit guards around you. In this world, only relying on yourself is the safest. Master is right. This disciple knows his mistake. Li Zijuan hurriedly bowed in acknowledgement. In the past, he always thought that if he cultivated his alchemy techniques well, he wouldn't have to worry about his safety if he hired more guards. But after the big battle last night, those guards couldn't even take care of themselves. Only then did he realize how important cultivation was. I'll go see Brother Wan first. Yi Jiuge didn't want to listen to Dongfang Yao scold his disciple, so he stood up and said his goodbyes. I'll send someone to bring you there. Li Zijuan stood up and opened the door. Just as he was about to call for an apprentice, he saw Zhang Peng walking past him and took the initiative to ask, Senior Brother Li, what's the matter? I want to find an apprentice to bring Miss Yi to the extraordinary pavilion to see Wan Ziang. Li Zijuan said casually. I'm about to go to the extraordinary pavilion. If Miss Yi doesn't mind, let me lead the way. Zhang Peng smiled. Then I'll have to trouble you. Yi Jiuge didn't think too much and followed Zhang Peng to the extraordinary pavilion. Miss, you've been wrong this time. I told them that Grandmaster Yun's granddaughter couldn't be a leader of evil cultivators, but they didn't believe me. Luckily you've cleared your name. Zhang Peng said indignantly. It's all thanks to Grandmaster Dongfang's wisdom. Yi Jiuge replied indifferently. Although Zhang Peng was handsome, she inexplicably didn't like him. Grandmaster Dongfang was in seclusion and didn't have time. Now that he's come out to take charge of the situation, he'll definitely bring those arrogant evil cultivators to justice. When that time comes, I'll need Monsieur's help. Zhang Peng continued with a smile, but his tone was full of probing. I don't dare. I'm just a weak woman. I don't dare to take on such a heavy responsibility. Yi Jioga shook her head weakly. Monsieur, you're too humble. You're the first person to kill an evil cultivator. I heard that those evil cultivators are very cruel. Miss Yi, you must have spent a lot of effort. Zhang Peng's topic revolved around the evil cultivators. He wanted to get some information from Yi Jioga. Unfortunately, Yi Jioga's mouth was tightly sealed. In the end, it was just polite words. Chapter 188. Zhang Peng walked Yi Jioga to the entrance of Extraordinary Pavilion, but he didn't get anything useful from Yi Jioga. He could only leave resentfully. Yi Jioga pushed open the unlatched door of Extraordinary Pavilion and walked into the house with light steps. At the door, he saw Wan Zieng lying on the bed with a pale face, surrounded by Songling and the others. Eldest Miss is here? Ouyang Sen was the closest to the door, so he was the first to see her walk in. Where are Hu Lin and Xia Qinfeng? Yi Jioga glanced around and didn't see Hu Lin and Xia Qinfeng. They went to get their reward, Ouyang Sen replied. This is. Yi Jioga looked beside Ouyang Senator. There stood a dark-skinned, tall and burly man. His eyes shone brightly and his short hair stood on end. He seemed to be the level 2 alchemist Xiong Yunhu, who was scared out of his wits by the evil cultivator and insisted on staying in the alchemy pavilion. Nice to meet you, Miss Yi. Xiong Yunhu grinned, looking extremely simple and honest. Good day, alchemist Xiong. Yi Jioga nodded and thought to himself, this guy is so muscular, I really can't tell he's such a coward. Xiong Yunhu was quite good at reading expressions. Seeing that Yi Jioga was here to talk to Wan Zieng, he immediately stood up and said, I still have something to do, so I won't disturb Brother Wan's rest. Let's talk another day. Take care, alchemist Xiong. Wan Zieng nodded. I'll see you off. Ouyang Sen was the closest to Xiong Yunhu, so he took the initiative to see him off. Come visit me when you have time, alchemist Ouyang. I still have many things to talk to you about. Before Xiong Yunhu left, he repeatedly invited Ouyang Sen to look for him. Ouyang Sen readily agreed. Yi Jioga looked at Xiong Yunhu's back and turned to ask Wan Zieng, are you familiar with him? Today was the first time I talked to him. Wan Zieng shook his head. If you're not familiar, why did he look for you for no reason? Yi Jioga asked doubtfully. He probably heard that alchemist Ouyang is here, so he came to see. Wan Zieng said hesitantly. I've only met him a few times. Ouyang Sen quickly distanced himself from Xiong Yunhu. He didn't want others to think he was a coward like Xiong Yunhu. He's just a coward. If he wants to come, then come. Why bother with him so much? Bai Songling curled her lips disapprovingly and asked Yi Jioga, how did your talk with Master Dongfang go? Great Master Dongfang has already given the order to capture the evil cultivators of bloodthirsty sect. He will personally take action. Yi Jioga sat down in front of Wan Zieng's bed. That's good. Gong Honglei almost turned the world upside down when you were not here. Li Zijuan persuaded him to bring back Gong Hongyu's body before sending him away. Bai Songling was also a little relieved. If Gong Honglei had been present today, it would not have been so easy for Yi Jioga and the others to clear their names. That stubborn fellow firmly believed that Yi Jioga had killed her sister and shouted every day that she would kill her to take revenge. Now that everything is clear, it's pointless for him to make a fuss. Yi Jioga's face darkened. She did not have a good impression of Gong Honglei. That guy had a body full of cultivation but no brains. He deserved to be used as a tool by others. I'll write a letter to Shangjing later and ask the emperor to issue an imperial edict to the world. Otherwise, those people will be kept in the dark and go around saying you're wrong. Wan Zieng was sincerely happy for Yi Jioga. Previously, Yi Yuxuan and the crown prince had splashed dirty water on Yi Jioga. If they did not issue an imperial edict to prove Yi Jioga's innocence, it would be useless even if she cleared her name in Alchemy City. This matter is not urgent. Let me see your hand. Yi Jioga reached out and felt Wan Zieng's pulse. He found that he was seriously injured. Although he had already taken a healing pill, the remaining poison in his organs had not been cleared. One could imagine how intense the battle last night was. Yi Jioga withdrew his hand and said with a frown, didn't I tell you to be careful of Lu Yunfei? How did you get injured? Her blood-colored bell is too powerful. None of us could stop her, but she was also injured by us. Wan Zieng did not say that Li Zijuan was careless, and that he was injured because he was trying to save someone. Little mute, give brother one a goo insect. Yi Jioga felt that Wan Ziang lost because he did not have a goo insect to detoxify the poison. Wan Ziang's usually calm face could not help but reveal a happy expression. He said in a low voice, "Thank you." Just now Bai Songling kept showing off in front of him how powerful her big mouth goo was. It opened its big mouth and absorbed all the poison that the evil cultivator breathed out. He was really envious when he heard it, but he was too embarrassed to ask Yi Jioga for it. "What are you thanking me for? Everyone has a share of this goo insect. Naturally you will get one too," Yi Jioga said generously. Since Yi Yu and Bai Songling had already been given away, Wan Ziang would not be missing. "This one is good." Juni Chen did not let Wan Ziang drip his blood and directly helped him choose the biggest goo insect. Wan Ziang looked at the goo worm lying on his arm after absorbing his blood essence, and he was very happy in his heart. He did not believe that the goo insect he cultivated would be worse than Bai Songling. "Little mute, you are biased." Bai Songling immediately shouted, "Didn't you say that these goo insects would automatically choose their master? Why is it that Wan Ziang can choose as he pleases?" "Wan Ziang has a good character. These goo insects are all willing to follow him. Naturally, I will choose the strongest one for him," Juni Chen said confidently. "What do you mean? Is my character not good?" Bai Songling was angry. She rolled up her sleeves and wanted to fight with Little Mute. "All right, stop quarreling. Let's get down to business." Luo Tian quickly stopped their quarrel and said seriously, "Lu Yunfei was injured last night. I think now is the time to deal with her. Otherwise, when her injury recovers, I am afraid it will be troublesome. But the problem is that we don't know where to find her," Yi Yu said awkwardly. "I know." Luo Tian smiled slyly. It turned out that when Little Red was capturing the treasure-seeking scorpion, he had secretly instructed Little Red to leave something on the treasure-seeking scorpion. No matter where the treasure-seeking scorpion went, Little Red would be able to find it. Little Red is not bad. It is a good insect. Bai Songling immediately gave a thumbs up. "That is a must." Luo Tian was proud. "This matter should not be delayed. Let's go now," Yi Yu said impatiently. Yi Jioga also expressed his agreement. Lu Yunfei was the direct disciple of the bloodthirsty sect's ancestor. If they could capture her, they would be able to deal a heavy blow to the bloodthirsty sect. "Ziang, rest well and wait for our triumphant return." Bai Songling patted Wan Ziang's shoulder and waved her hand in high spirits. "Let's go." Luo Tian summoned Little Red and used his consciousness to order it to find the treasure-seeking scorpion. Little Red circled above the room. After determining the direction, it flapped its wings and flew forward. Yi Jioga left the lofty pavilion and immediately felt countless eyes staring at them from the dark. She turned around and looked at the extremely quiet alchemy pavilion. Suddenly, a feeling of anxiety arose in her heart. It was as if something unexpected was about to happen. Chapter 189. Eldest Miss, what's wrong? Yi Yu followed Yi Jioga's gaze and looked towards the alchemy pavilion. "It's nothing." Yi Jioga suppressed this strange feeling and repeatedly comforted himself. With Dong Fengyao overseeing the alchemy pavilion, Wan Ziang and the others will be fine. "Then let's go." Yi Yu didn't think too much about it. All his thoughts were on chasing after Lu Yunfei. Yi Jioga nodded and led the others to follow behind Lil Red. After leaving Alchemy City, they made their way into the forest and finally arrived at a precipitous cliff. The mountain wind whistled, causing Yi Jioga's dress to flutter. Looking down from above, it was impossible to see the situation at the bottom of the cliff. Could it be that Lu Yunfei jumped off the cliff? Bai Songling looked at the cliff suspiciously. "You want to jump off a cliff? Even that demonist doesn't know how to jump off a cliff." Juni Chen sneered. Lu Yunfei might have discovered the 1,000-mile fragrance on the treasure-seeking scorpion, Luo Tian said solemnly. "The trail is broken. What should we do next?" Yi Yu frowned. There were dense forests everywhere and it would not be easy to find Lu Yunfei. "Luo Tian, can you let Little Red find the general direction in which Lu Yunfei disappeared?" Bai Songling asked expectantly. "Let me try," Luo Tian ordered Little Red. Little Red circled left and right a few times, but in the end, it was still unable to determine a specific direction. "This place is too big. Even Little Red can't do anything about it." Luo Tian tried and shook his head. "Lu Yunfei has been in Alchemy City for so long, she must have a fixed base outside. Let's look carefully, maybe we can find some clues." Bai Songling was not willing to let the demoness go like this. "Stronghold?" Yi Jioga's eyes lit up as he thought of something. Back then, the corpses that were thrown into the rubble all had red clay at their feet. That red clay might be where Lu Yunfei was hiding. Do you know where there is red clay nearby? I know of a valley where the soil is red, Bai Songling immediately said. Previously, he had been tracking down the missing spiritualists and searched all the mountains nearby. Nobody knew better than him. Let's go take a look. In this situation they could not let go of any clues. Bai Songling led them through a dense forest and finally came to a low-lying valley. The valley was overgrown with weeds and vines. The exposed soil was brown, and there was no sign of red clay at all. The red clay is under that patch of grass. Bai Songling pointed at the grayish-green patch of grass on the far left. Speaking of which, it was also a coincidence. When he led the team to this place, there was an unlucky guy who accidentally fell down and came up with a butt full of red mud, which made them laugh uncontrollably. There's something strange about this grass. Yi Jioge opened his spiritual eye to take a closer look and realized that the grass was covered in a black-red mist which was extremely strange. Bai Songling, who was about to jump down, immediately retracted his foot and said, "Should I release Big Mouth out to have a look?" Ever since he found out that his Big Mouth goo had the ability to swallow poisonous gas, he had been wanting to show off. Big Mouth's cultivation base isn't high enough. This demonic aura far exceeds its ability. It's better not to take the risk. Yi Jioge shook his head. Then he chose a hard gray stone from the ground. After injecting his spiritual power into it, he threw it at the grassland. There was a loud bang. It was like putting oil into a frying pan. Surging black gas gushed out and instantly swallowed the fist-sized gray stone. It wasn't like this the last time we came. Bai Songling swallowed his saliva, feeling incomparable lingering fear. If not for Yi Jioge's reminder, he would have probably suffered the same fate as the stone. The last time you guys came, this demonic aura shouldn't have been activated. This situation proves that Lu Yunfei is definitely hiding underneath. Yi Jioge said. He finally found the main culprit. But this demonic aura is so hard to deal with, what do we do? Yi was slightly worried. His black overlord was not good at swallowing poisonous gas. This demonic aura was forcefully poured in by Lu Yunfei. As long as we find its door of life, we will be able to break it. Yi Jioge said. Where is the door of life? Luo Tian and the rest asked in unison. Yi Jioge's spiritual eye had not advanced yet, so it was hard for her to find the secret to it. She could only faintly see that the demonic aura in the eastern corner was the weakest. She did not have the time to find the door step by step, so she might as well destroy it with brute force. Yi Jioge flicked out the white bone flame and drew an area at the corner of the grass. He said to Bai Songling and the rest, "The door of life is over there. Later on, when I give the order, use your strongest attack to bombard that corner." "No problem, watch me," Bai Songling said while rubbing his palms. The rest nodded their heads at the same time. They raised their hands and pointed at the corner, quietly waiting for Yi Jioge's order. "Ready, boom." Yi Jioge's hand that was raised high in the air chopped down. Bai Songling and the rest immediately activated all the spiritual energy in their bodies. Multicolored rays of light rained down like a rainstorm. A loud bang resounded. The pitch-black demonic aura surged up violently, destroying the entire patch of grass. A light pink figure scuttled out from the ground, mixed in with the demonic aura, and escaped out of the valley. Want to escape? No way. Yi Jioge removed the lightning snake illusion whip from his waist and used a killing move. The huge purple lightning snake bared its fangs and brandished its claws, pouncing towards Lu Yunfei. Lu Yunfei's pupils shrank. Her hands repeatedly shot out a mist of blood. Although she managed to resist the purple lightning snake's attack, she lost the chance to escape. Yi Yu, Luo Tian, Juni Chen, and Bai Songling surrounded her, each of them staring at her like a tiger watching its prey. Lu Yunfei's face was a bit pale. She no longer had her usual charm. She glanced at Yi Yu and the rest one by one, revealing a disdainful smile. "Even if you claim to be from a righteous sect, a few grown men actually ganging up on a weak girl like me. Don't you feel ashamed?" Bai Songling suddenly felt a bit ashamed. He felt that they were indeed a bit bullying. He glanced at his companions and saw that Luo Tian and Juni Chen were full of hatred. They did not feel embarrassed at all that the four of them ganging up on Lu Yunfei. He then looked at Yi Yu and noticed that his throat moved as if he had swallowed something. Bai Songling's heart jumped. He realized that he seemed to have forgotten something important. At this moment, Lu Yunfei suddenly pounced towards him like lightning. Her blood-glowing palms continuously shot out a mist of blood. Bai Songling was a bit distracted and did not have the time to defend. Seeing that Bai Songling was about to be injured, Yi Yu promptly shot out a gray spirit light to help him block it. Luo Tian also punched at Lu Yunfei, forcing her to retreat to Bai Songling's side. "Xiao Bai, take your medicine." Yi Yu took the time to shout. Bai Songling then remembered that Yi Jioga had warned them many times to take medicine whenever they saw Lu Yunfei. He quickly took out a tranquil heart pill and swallowed it. Instantly he felt refreshed and the guilt he felt just now disappeared. To deal with a vicious woman like Lu Yunfei, they had to gang up on her. He actually felt ashamed. What the hell? Chapter 190. Bai Songling's hands glowed with green light and transformed into 2 green vines that joined the battle. The blood mist on Lu Yunfei's body flickered, but she was not at a disadvantage against the 4 of them. The more Bai Songling fought, the more shocked she became. She did not expect Lu Yunfei to be so powerful even after being injured. She had not even started to use her blood bell and blood sword. Bai Songling thought of this and did not dare to relax anymore. She used all her strength to fight the enemy seriously. The others did the same. Lu Yunfei felt the pressure increase. She had used her charm technique to bewitch the 4 of them. Yi Yu had already taken the pill. Luo Tian and Juni Chen were unmoved. The only one who was affected was Bai Songling, the wood element spiritualist. It was a pity that Bai Songling woke up too early and she did not succeed. It was all those ants' fault for injuring her last night. Otherwise, how could they be her opponents? Lu Yunfei had not been injured for so many years. This time she was injured to the extreme. In her anger, she could not care less about her injuries and immediately took out her blood bell to control it. She had to get rid of the 4 of them quickly to deal with Yi Jioga, who was standing by the side. She did not think that Yi Jioga was powerful the last time they fought. She did not expect Yi Jioga to be hiding his strength. She had really underestimated him. A strange ringing sound came from the blood-red bell. Bai Songling, Yi Yu and the rest had heard of the power of the blood bell. They immediately jumped back to prevent themselves from being hit. Yi Jioga also became vigilant. He realized that Lu Yunfei's bell was not as powerful as before. It was probably because she was injured, calling her sick and wanting her life. If he did not make a move now, when would he? "Everyone, let's take her down." Yi Jioga made a prompt decision and joined the battle. The lightning snake illusionary whip in her hand whistled through the air, and streaks of purple lightning flew towards Lu Yunfei. Bai Songling's green vine soared and wrapped around Lu Yunfei. Juni Chen's abdomen trembled and let out a strange call. Dozens of rank 1 black-top snakes came to attack Lu Yunfei. Luo Tian relied on the strength of his physical body and punched towards Lu Yunfei. Lu Yunfei was already injured. Now that she was surrounded by everyone, she could not take it. A moment of carelessness, Yi Jioga's thunder snake fantasy whip hit her wrist and the blood bell flew out. She opened her mouth and spat out a red sword at Luo Tian. Unexpectedly, Xiao Hong, Big Mouth and Black Overlord, the 3 goo worms, were already waiting at the side. They swarmed up and swallowed the blood sword cleanly. Lu Yunfei used up all her moves and knew that she was not a match for these people. She was not in the mood to continue fighting, so she tried to activate the protective blood mist around her to leave, but she found that her body could not move. Yi Yu hid in Lu Yunfei's shadow, and at the crucial moment he finally used his puppet kill, controlling Lu Yunfei's body. Yi Jioga led Luo Tian and the others to charge forward and press Lu Yunfei to the ground. She sealed Lu Yunfei's vital acupoints and tied her up tightly with ropes. Lu Yunfei's hair was disheveled and her body was covered in mud. She looked battered and exhausted. But her fierce expression was like that of a crazy woman, as if she could pounce on them and bite them at any time. "You're about to die, yet you still dare to act so arrogantly? You'll be crying later." Yi Jioga sneered. "You lowly ants, you actually dare to use despicable methods to deal with this grand ant. This grand ant will skin you and pull out your tendons, then refine you into the lowest grade blood slaves to feed to the dogs." Lu Yunfei cursed crazily, but halfway through she was slapped by Yi Jioga. She wanted to continue cursing, but the moment she opened her mouth, she was beaten black and blue by Yi Jioga, unable to even open her mouth. "Let me tell you, this grand ant does not have a good temper, you better take it easy." Yi Jioga looked down at her from above, his gaze cold and indifferent as if he was looking at an ant. "Old ancestor will definitely not let you off." Lu Yunfei's eyes emitted a venomous light. Then, a trace of blood suddenly flowed out of the corner of her mouth and she died just like that. Her originally delicate and beautiful white skin instantly turned gray. Her corpse was as stiff as a rock, and even the blood bell had lost its spirit energy. "She's really dead." Yi Yu placed his hand under Lu Yunfei's nose, his tone filled with disbelief. He thought that it would at least take a huge battle to deal with Lu Yunfei, but he did not expect her to die so easily. Yi Jiuge also did not expect Lu Yunfei to die so easily. She frowned and said to Junichen, "Little mute, I remember you saying that the direct disciples have something called blood pearl on their bodies?" Yes, I don't know why she didn't use it. Junichen also felt that it was very strange. "Yiyu, search Lu Yunfei's body and see if there's anything else on her body." Bai Songling said to Yiyu, "You're better at examining corpses." Yiyu did not move. "Although I'm good at examining corpses, you're more familiar with her, so you definitely know her body better than me," Bai Songling said seriously. Yiyu immediately felt as if a fly had flown into his mouth, and his whole body felt uncomfortable. He was not familiar with Lu Yunfei, he had always been bullied by her. However, he was too lazy to bicker with Bai Songling, and obediently squatted down. From head to toe, he carefully examined the things on Lu Yunfei's body. Other than some jewelry, there was a cosmos sack and 2 scorpions that were hiding in her sleeves, shivering. Other than the purple treasure-seeking scorpion that was caught by Yi Jiuge, there was also a scorpion the size of an infant's fist. Its carapace was light brown, and it was covered with scars from being cut by a knife. Some of the scars had already darkened and should be old wounds. Some were still very fresh, as if they were cut recently. This brown scorpion also seemed to have a very weak personality, and it kept hiding behind the purple treasure-seeking scorpion while shivering. The purple treasure-seeking scorpion also tried its best to use its body to block it, and its long stinger stood up. It looked as if it would risk its life if anyone dared to touch it. What's going on? Yi was confused. This smaller scorpion should be the wife of the treasure-seeking scorpion, and Lu Yunfei used it to control the scorpion. Junichen was very familiar with this kind of exotic beast, and he immediately started to explain. It turned out that the treasure-seeking scorpion was a very infatuated creature. As long as it found a mate, it would not change until death. Some unscrupulous people would torture the female scorpion in order to stimulate the treasure-seeking scorpion's ability. Looking at the scars on the female scorpion's body, it was obvious that she had been tortured by Lu Yunfei. This, which is really vicious, she won't even let a scorpion go. Yiyu's disgust towards Lu Yunfei was obvious. When he thought about how he had been bewitched by her seductive technique, and how she had touched him, he felt extremely disgusted. Tiske, any male who loves his wife is worthy of admiration, Yi Jiuge said with a sigh. Then he took out 2 spirit beast pills and handed them to the treasure-seeking scorpion. "You are a natural exotic beast. Even if I let you go, it will be difficult for you to escape the pursuit of others in the future, so I suggest that you choose a good master." Chapter 191. Although the treasure-seeking scorpion had developed some intelligence, it still didn't understand Yi Jiuge's words. Because of Lu Yunfei, it hated all humans and was disdainful of humans fawning. It swung its stinger and wanted to kick away the 2 fragrant pills. Unexpectedly, the female scorpion that had been hiding behind it suddenly jumped out, and quickly swallowed a spirit beast pill. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The treasure-seeking scorpion shouted angrily, "How can you eat something given by humans? They are all bad people." Squeak, squeak, squeak. The female scorpion's previous weakness was gone, and she scolded back with an even sharper voice. "Is there something wrong with your brain? You can't even tell that it's a good thing? If you don't eat it, I will die." Although it had scars all over its body, it was also very fierce when it scolded. The treasure-seeking scorpion immediately softened, and fawningly pushed the remaining spirit beast pill to its wife and squeaked, "Since there are benefits, you should eat more." Squeak, squeak. The female scorpion originally wanted to leave this pill for its husband. But its body was indeed weak, and if it didn't take supplements, it might not be able to grow old together with its husband. Therefore, it simply swallowed the remaining spirit beast pill. As expected, the love between husband and wife is deep. Yi Jiuge sighed. "Young miss, could it be that you can understand their conversation?" Yi Yu asked curiously. He had never heard of young miss having this ability. Yi Jiuge was stunned. Only then did she realize that she could actually understand the conversation between the 2 scorpions. She never had such an ability before. "Speaking of which, you seem to understand what Little Red said last time." Junichen looked at Yi Jiuge with a probing gaze. Although the blood-clothed Miao people could also communicate with Gu, they could only roughly understand the meaning, and could not understand what they were saying. Really? Yi Jiuge thought about it and realized that there really was. At that time she said that Little Red's big belly looked like it was pregnant, and Little Red angrily said that it was a male insect. But the information she received at that time was not very clear, so she did not take it to heart. At this time, the female scorpion ate the spirit beast pill, and the scars on its body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. The treasure-seeking scorpion knew that this spirit beast pill was truly beneficial to his wife, so he immediately begged Yi Jioga, "You're a good person, please take us in. Not only can I search for treasures, I can also sneak in and assassinate people. I have great abilities. As long as you can give my wife one of those pills every day, I'm willing to work for you." This time, Yi Jioga could clearly feel that the treasure-seeking scorpion was talking to her. Oh my god. When did she learn this foreign language? Why didn't she know? Yi Jioga carefully retraced the events and found that all these things happened after the fat black rat swallowed her blood essence. Could it be that the fat black rat ate her blood essence and secretly did something to it? When the treasure-seeking scorpion saw that Yi Jioga didn't respond for a long time, it thought that its requirements were too high. It quickly lowered its standards and carefully said, "Alright, 1 pill a day is indeed too much. Then 1 pill a month." Yi Jioga did not hear the words of the treasure-seeking scorpion. She was still immersed in the shock of the fat black rat doing something to her. Zishang once reminded her to be careful of the fat black rat and sternly warned her that she absolutely could not let the fat black rat swallow her blood essence. Now that she made a big mistake, how was she going to explain it to Zishang? However, with so many people present, she couldn't bring the fat black rat out for interrogation. The treasure-seeking scorpion trembled with fear as it looked at Yi Jioga's expression. Seeing that she was suspicious, annoyed, and finally put on a murderous expression, his little heart suddenly jumped and he quickly said, "Alright, I don't want the meatballs anymore. As long as you don't bully my wife, I'll follow you." After saying that, it especially emphasized, "My wife had a miscarriage last time because of that vicious woman. Now her body is very weak and she can't bear even the slightest bit of torment. If you kill her, I won't live alone." The treasure-seeking scorpion's poisonous stinger was raised high to show its determination. The female scorpion that had been quietly staying by its side thought of her miscarried child and was so angry that even her carapace turned dark brown. It had been with the treasure-seeking scorpion for many years, but they had never been able to reproduce. That vicious woman probably wanted to get another treasure-seeking scorpion, so she fed them a lot of drugs to stimulate them into estrus and mating. After much difficulty, she was finally pregnant with a baby. In the end, that vicious woman used medicine to test it and found that the child in its belly was just an ordinary scorpion, so she got rid of the child. It hated that vicious woman to death, but unfortunately, it had no way to deal with her. That vicious woman was really too strong. But now, that powerful and vicious woman was killed by these humans, which meant that these humans were stronger than her. Most importantly, that girl with snow-like skin and unimaginably beautiful, who looked like a white lotus, had a very good heart. This could be seen from the fact that she didn't stop it from swallowing the 2 good pills. The female scorpion made up her mind to follow this white lotus for the rest of her life, so she said to the treasure-seeking scorpion, "Tell it that you're willing to make a contract with her." What? The treasure-seeking scorpion was very shocked. Its wife was very stubborn. When it was tortured and abused by that vicious woman, it gritted its teeth and didn't let it agree to sign a contract with that vicious woman. Why did she agree now? She's a good person. The female scorpion was also very helpless, but it felt that other than signing a contract, it couldn't come up with any other conditions to move the White Lotus girl. Alright. The treasure-seeking scorpion had always listened to its wife, so it wanted to ask Yi Jioga to sign a contract. At this time, Yi Jioga had already woken up from the chaos of being tricked by the fat black rat. Hearing the treasure-seeking scorpion couple's words, she quickly said, "I don't need you to sign a contract with me. If you want to follow me, then follow me. In the future, if you find a suitable master or have other plans, just let me know in advance." Zishang wasn't here, so Yi Jioga didn't dare to casually sign a contract with a strange beast. Most importantly, with the fat black rat around, she didn't like the treasure-seeking scorpion's ability to find treasures. The treasure-seeking scorpion couple was stunned. They had been abused by Lu Yunfei for too long, and they didn't dare to believe that there was such a good person in this world. "I still have things to do, go rest in my bag first. We'll talk about other things later." After Yi Jioga finished speaking, she opened the bag that she carried with her. The fat black rat turned over in the corner of the bag, sleeping soundly. The treasure-seeking scorpion couple wisely chose a corner that was the furthest away from her and quietly lay dormant. Jun Yichen and Luo Tian had been watching the conversation between Yi Jioga and the 2 scorpions. Seeing that she was really proficient in the beast language, they revealed complicated expressions. Chapter 192. Just as Juni-chen was about to speak, Yi Jioga interrupted him. It's useless even if you ask me, I still don't know how I suddenly understand the beast language. Before Zishang came out, Yi Jioga didn't want to expose the special ability of the fat black rat. Juni-chen frowned. He was very dissatisfied with Yi Jioga's answer. Being proficient in the beast language was very important to the Blood Cloak tribe. If he learned it, he could kill his way back to avenge the tribe leader. Luo Tian grabbed the young master's shoulder and shook his head in disagreement. Everyone had their own secrets. They didn't have the right to interrogate, not to mention that the person with the secret was Yi Jioga. Juni-chen bit his lower lip. He knew that he was wrong, but he wanted revenge too much. Yi Yu sensed that the atmosphere wasn't good. He quickly said, let's talk about the beast language later. Let's see what's in Lu Yunfei's Cosmos bag first. After that, he erased the imprint on Lu Yunfei's Cosmos bag and shook out the things inside. First was a thick pile of beautiful beauty skin. Gong Hongyu's human skin was also in it. Other than that, there were 18 blood bottles filled with extremely thick blood and 15 jade boxes. These jade boxes contained bloody meatballs, which were the spiritual roots that they had collected from the spiritualists they had killed during this period of time. But he didn't see the blood beads that Juni-chen mentioned. Yi Yu looked around and didn't find anything that looked like the blood beads. He wasn't sure if he missed anything, so he looked up at Juni-chen and asked, did you remember wrongly? Impossible, a core disciple like Lu Yunfei must have blood beads, unless she gave them to someone else, Juni-chen said with certainty. Can this thing be given to someone else? Bai Songling asked curiously. Of course, although these blood beads can increase one's combat power, they also cause great damage after use. With Lu Yunfei's arrogant personality, she probably felt that she couldn't use it, so she gave it to someone who needed it more. Although these were all Juni-chen's conjectures, he felt that it was most likely the truth. Bai Songling and Yi Yu felt that Juni-chen's words made sense. Yi Jioga, on the other hand, was skeptical. She didn't know why, but she felt that she had missed some very important clues that could affect the entire situation. What was it? Yi Jioga felt a swelling pain in his head, but he had no clue. At this time, Juni-chen's expression suddenly changed and he said, not good, Wan Xiang's insects have been killed. Xiang's insect was killed? How is that possible? Bai Songling couldn't believe it. Wan Xiang was doing fine in the alchemy pavilion. How could something happen to him? Would I joke about something like this? Juni-chen's expression was ugly. Before Wan Xiang's goo hatched, it was still under the control of his blood essence. Now that he was killed for no reason, it was also a great loss to him. Little Master is not lying. Wan Xiang's goo worm is indeed dead, Luo Tian said solemnly. As soon as he finished speaking, Lil Red, Big Mouth, and Black Tyrant all flew above everyone's heads uneasily. They flew around in circles and looked extremely agitated. Could it be that Su Junqing realized that he had been exposed and decided to take the risk to attack Ziyang? The more Bai Songling thought about it, the more she felt that it was possible. She quickly said to Yi Jioga, why don't we go back and have a look? He had the deepest friendship with Wan Xiang. When he heard that he was in trouble, he wanted nothing more than to grow a pair of wings and fly back to the alchemy pavilion to investigate and save him. Let's go, we'll go back now, Yi Jioga immediately ordered. Lu Yunfei's corpse wasn't easy to take away, so Yi Yu found a place to hide her. The Cosmos sack was left with Yi Jioga. After the group finished their preparations, they hurriedly rushed towards Alchemy City. The valley was quite a distance away from Alchemy City. They hurried, but they still couldn't make it back before the city gates closed. It was already dusk. The afterglow of the setting sun cast a dark yellow glow on the closed city gates. Yi Jioga, Bai Songling, Yi Yu, and the rest squatted on a small hill half a mile away from the city gates, looking at Alchemy City from afar. She didn't know why, but when she looked at the closed city gates from afar, her heart thumped wildly. She actually didn't dare to approach. What's wrong, young miss? Bai Songling looked at Yi Jioga in confusion. She didn't understand why she was guarding here and not willing to enter Alchemy City. Though the city gates were closed, it wasn't a big deal to them. They could just find a hidden place to cross over. Yi Jioga shook his head. Something's not right. It's not a wise move to return to Alchemy City right now. She didn't know how to describe her feelings, but she instinctively didn't want to go in. Yi Yu suggested, how about I sneak in first to see what's going on? The sky was already dark, and the city walls were surrounded by shadows. As long as he was careful, there shouldn't be a problem. Alright, be careful then. Yi Jioga nodded in agreement. Yi Yu crept away from his spot and carefully sneaked into the shadows to approach the city walls. Yi Jioga and the others carefully watched Yi Yu. After seeing that he successfully sneaked into the city walls, they finally sighed in relief. The sun slowly set, and the last of its light disappeared without a trace. At this time the city gates suddenly opened. Two groups of soldiers with magic tools to search for evil cultivators began to attack the mountains on both sides. The gates slowly closed behind them, but the security on top of the city walls became even stricter. The top of the walls was brightly lit, and teams of fully armored soldiers were patrolling. Yijioga even saw quite a few spiritualists patrolling everywhere. The entire city was on high alert. What's going on in Alchemy City? Bai Songling also felt that something was wrong. Alchemy City wasn't this tense even when the evil cultivators were at their peak. I don't know what's going on in your Thunder Nation, but in our Blood Cloak clan, this is only the case when the clan leader is being assassinated. Luo Tian spoke word by word. Yijioga finally understood what he had missed out on. The bloodthirsty sect's target has always been Grandmaster Dongfang. Did something happen to him? That can't be. Bai Songling was shocked. No matter how powerful the evil cultivators from the bloodthirsty sect are, they can't possibly make a move against Grandmaster Dongfang in the Alchemy Pavilion. If they were really that powerful, everyone in the Alchemy Pavilion would be dead already. No, something must have happened to Grandmaster Dongfang. There must be something we haven't thought of in the Alchemy Pavilion. Yijioga's mind raced, but the more he thought about it, the more he couldn't think of anything. At this time, the treasure-seeking scorpion's voice came from the pouch. Master, I heard from Lu Yunfei that there was a demonic cultivator called Old Xiong who not only ruined most of her human skin, but also stole the blood bead that the ancestor gave her. She even said that when she returns, she must report him to the ancestor. Chapter 193. Old Bear, could it be Xiong Yunhu? Yijioga's heart tightened. No wonder that Xiong Yunhu pretended to be a coward and stayed in the Alchemy Pavilion. He clearly had ulterior motives. It seemed like bloodthirsty ancestor didn't just send an evil cultivator in disguise. Xiong Yunhu had been in the Alchemy Pavilion for so long, so he must have done many things in secret. If that was the case, Yiyu would be in danger. Yijioga was worried and was wondering if he should send someone to rescue Yiyu. Then her bag moved and a purple scorpion head popped out. Master, do you want me to help you investigate the situation of the Alchemy Pavilion? The treasure-seeking scorpion volunteered. You? Yijioga was surprised. He did not expect the treasure-seeking scorpion to be so proactive in helping him. However, now that the Alchemy Pavilion was so heavily armed, she was worried that the treasure-seeking scorpion would just be delivering itself to its doorstep. Master, don't look at me like this. I'm actually very good at burrowing underground, the treasure-seeking scorpion said as it waved its two pincers. Many of these treasures were buried deep underground. If it didn't have some skills, how could it have found them? All right, then go ahead and give it a try. Do what you can and retreat if there is any danger. Yijioga nodded. If he burrowed into the ground, it would not be a big deal. Last time, the treasure-seeking scorpion was able to sneak into her window without making a sound, so it must have some ability. All right, I'll go now. The treasure-seeking scorpion crawled out of the bag and prepared to set off. Wait a minute. Yijioga called out to the treasure-seeking scorpion and poured out a spirit beast pill for it before saying, "Replenish your strength. Leave it for my wife." The treasure-seeking scorpion immediately said, "You eat first. If this matter is done well, I will reward you." Yijioga stuffed it into the treasure-seeking scorpion's pincers. The treasure-seeking scorpion already had some intelligence. Although it felt bad for its wife, it wanted to complete the mission and obtain the reward. He immediately ate the spirit beast pill, then landed on the ground and disappeared in front of Yijioga's eyes. Yijioga opened his spiritual eye and saw a faint purple shadow heading towards Alchemy City at a rather fast speed. Relieved, she opened the bag and looked inside. The female scorpion was sleeping quietly in the corner. It had been abused before and its body was very weak. After eating the spirit beast pill, it automatically entered a state of deep sleep to repair itself. On the other side of the bag, the fat black rat was still hugging its tail, curled up into a small furry ball and sleeping. Yijioga poked its chubby body and whispered, black fatty." The fat black rat did not react at all. Yijioga simply took it out of the bag and rubbed it in his hand. But the fat black rat was like a dead pig, not responding at all. If it weren't for the fact that its body was still warm, Yijioga would have thought that it was dead. Ever since this fellow drank her blood essence, he had been in a state of deep sleep. She had no idea what was going on. This black fatty was becoming more and more mysterious. He had to figure out its origins. If only Zishang was here. This fat black rat was most afraid of him. Yi Jioge could not help but sigh. Bai Songling thought that she was worried about Wan Ziang, so she comforted her. Miss, you don't have to worry too much. Ziang is blessed by the heavens. He'll be fine. I hope so. Yi Jioge stuffed the fat black mouse back into the belt and was about to tell Bai Songling and the others about Xiong Yunhu. A ray of purple light suddenly shot back from the city wall. It was the shadow of the treasure-seeking scorpion. Why did it return so quickly? Yi Jioge was shocked. She immediately opened her spiritual eye and saw a gray shadow following behind the treasure-seeking scorpion. She could tell that the shadow was Yi Yu. Yi Yu's shadow was flickering. It seemed that the situation was not good. Yi Jioge immediately sent Bai Songling and Luo Tian to help. Yi Yu was already an arrow at the end of its flight. He was holding on with his last breath. Seeing Bai Songling and Luo Tian, he finally relaxed and collapsed. Bai Songling carried Yi Yu on her back and Luo Tian protected him. The three of them quickly returned to their original position. Let's change locations. Yi Jioge immediately ordered. Although there were no pursuers, they could not stay in one place for too long. Juni Chen led the way. The group moved to an even more secluded forest before settling down. Yi Jioge immediately treated Yi Yu. His face was deathly pale. His eyebrows, sideburns, eyes and lips had turned a strange dark red. His entire body was boiling hot. Even his breath was hot. It was obvious that he was poisoned. Black Overlord was lying on Yi Yu's neck. Its originally black body had turned dark red. How is Yi Yu? Bai Songling asked worriedly. He's fine. Fortunately, Black Overlord absorbed most of the poison. Otherwise, even if he didn't die, he would be half dead. Yi Jioge fed Yi Yu some frost powder. Then he took out the Thunderfire needle and started to stab Yi Yu. Drops of fiery red blood dripped down, burning small holes in the grass. What a tyrannical poison. Bai Songling was shocked. Her gaze landed on Black Overlord again. Then she glanced at Little Mute. Bloodthirsty sex poison techniques were strange and unpredictable. If not for the protection of Little Mute's goo worms, Yi Yu would have died many times. When Bai Songling thought of this, he couldn't help but touch Big Mouth on his wrist. He secretly decided that he must ask Yi Jioge for more spirit beast pills to cultivate Big Mouth. After Yi Jioge forced the fire poison out of Yi Yu's body, he stabbed his Rinzhong acupoint. Yi Yu's body trembled. He finally woke up. As soon as he opened his eyes, he struggled to sit up and said in a hoarse voice, "Not good." "What's not good? How is Ziang?" Bai Songling asked impatiently. "Ziang is locked up in prison," Yi Yu said with a pale face. "What? Who locked him up?" Bai Songling shouted angrily. Although Wan Ziang's military power was taken away, he was still the emperor's man. Who dared to touch him? "It's the crown prince." Yi Yu gritted his teeth and said, "He and Su Junqing took advantage of Ziang's serious injuries to tie him up. They even crushed Ziang's goo worms. What right does the crown prince have? What about Master Dongfang and Li Zijuan? Are they just going to sit back and do nothing?" Bai Songling suddenly thought of this. Her expression changed drastically. "Are they also bewitched by Su Junqing's bewitching art? That's not right. If he wanted to bewitch them, he would have done it long ago. Why wait until now? They weren't bewitched. I heard people from the alchemy pavilion say that Ziang was bewitched by evil cultivators and secretly poisoned Master Dongfang and Li Zijuan. Now that Master Dongfang is unconscious and Li Zijuan is in danger, the entire alchemy city is in chaos." Yi Yuxuan joined hands with the crown prince. With the help of the alchemy pavilion's second-in-command, Zhang Peng, they took over alchemy city's defense. They believe that Ziang is the murderer and said that we are also evil cultivators in disguise. They want to arrest us. Yi Yu took a deep breath and continued, "The worst thing is that Gong Honglei suddenly came back this morning. He heard that Master Dongfang was harmed by Wan Ziang. He immediately stood on the crown prince's side." Chapter 194. Bullshit, which eye of theirs saw us being tricked by the heretic? Bai Songling jumped up in anger. He wanted nothing more than to rush into the city and strangle the crown prince. The real evil cultivator is Xiong Yunhu. He should be like Jiang Xingjie, equipped with an aura-concealing magic tool. Moreover, his cultivation is even higher than Lu Yunfei's. Yi Jioge told him about Xiong Yunhu in a deep voice. "So it's that guy. I knew he wasn't a good person, coming to visit Ziang for no reason. He's clearly a weasel paying respects to a chicken. He must have planned to harm us." Bai Songling regretted not sending them off. If he knew this would happen, he would have stayed at the alchemy pavilion to accompany Wan Ziang. There's no point in saying all this now. We should hurry and think of a way to save Ziang. Yi Jioga's expression was solemn. Aside from saving Wan Ziang, she also wanted to see the heavily injured Dongfang Yao and Li Zijuan. She had the Thunderfire needles and many supreme-grade pills left behind by her grandfather. No matter how heavily injured they were, she could still save them. The only problem was that Alchemy City was full of obstacles and the Alchemy Pavilion was heavily guarded. With the Crown Prince, Yi Yuxuan and Gong Honglei interfering, it wouldn't be easy for her to sneak into the pavilion. Yi Yu's next words confirmed Yi Jioga's conjecture. The prison is still fine. Most of the guards are ordinary soldiers. However, Dongfang Yao and Li Zijuan's alchemy pavilion has been surrounded by the Crown Prince, Su Junqing and Yi Yuxuan's men. Not even a mosquito can enter. Su Junqing even set up a fire trap around the pavilion to deal with me. If it wasn't for the scorpion, I would have died as well. Yi Yu gritted his teeth in hatred when he thought of the fire trap Su Junqing set up. That vicious bastard actually used living people to set up a trap. Otherwise he wouldn't have fallen for it. 16 guards, 16 lives, he used them so easily to fill the hole. Yi Yu's words weighed heavily on the crowd. Who would have thought that they would fall into an even more difficult situation after clearing their grievances yesterday? Don't be too discouraged. From another perspective, this is the heretical cultivator's final scheme. As long as we save Wan Ziang and heal Master Dongfang and Li Zijuan's injuries, we can completely destroy the bloodthirsty sex plot, Yi Jioga said calmly. Eldest Miss is right, Jiang Xingjie and Lu Yunfei have already been killed by us. Xiong Yunhu and Su Junqing won't be able to be arrogant for long. Once we expose their conspiracy, the Crown Prince, Yi Yuxuan, and Gong Honglei will be waiting to slap their faces. A ferocious smile appeared on Bai Songling's face as he said, they are helping the evil cultivators to open the way for them. They should be the ones who colluded with the evil cultivators. That's right. When the time comes, we'll be the ones to see how they clear their grievances. Yi Yu's spirits were lifted at the thought of this. He had thought that it would take many years to bring down the Su family and the Crown Prince to avenge his family. He did not expect that the hope of revenge was right in front of him. As long as he defeated Su Junqing, the Crown Prince who colluded with the evil cultivator would not have a good ending. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. Bai Songling said in high spirits. Even the treasure-seeking scorpion squeaked as it stood on Yi Jioga's shoulder. Yi Jioga was a generous master. Since he had made a great contribution, he would definitely benefit from it. A bunch of idiots. Jun Yichen was expressionless as he ridiculed. They were clearly going to Alchemy City to die, but they were bragging about it as if it was a hero's medal. Being an idiot is not bad. Luo Tian smiled. He had been very strange before. Wan Ziang, Bai Songling, and Yi Yu were not simple characters. Why would they listen to Yi Jioga's every word? Even his awkward and arrogant little master was completely convinced by her. Now he finally understood. Yi Jioga had a mysterious brilliance about her. No matter how difficult the situation was, she would always be able to overcome it. If Yi Jioga knew that Luo Tian had such a high evaluation of her, she would definitely smile bitterly. She was just fooling people. Although she had fooled everyone to build up their confidence, she did not dare to recklessly bring them into Alchemy City. Her plan was to rest for 6 hours first. When the city guards were at their most exhausted, they would sneak in. Everyone expressed their approval of this plan. After they killed Jiang Xingjie last night, they rushed back to Alchemy City. Then they fought with the Crown Prince, Yi Yuxuan, went to see Wan Ziang, and then hurriedly went to kill Lu Yunfei. After going back and forth, they were already very tired. If it weren't for their strong physiques and Yi Jioga's pills, they would have collapsed long ago. Luo Tian and Jun Yichen volunteered to keep watch. Their physiques were stronger and they were better at keeping watch. Jun Yichen kept watch for the first half of the night, while Luo Tian kept watch for the second half. No one competed with them. Bai Songling and Yi Yu each found a place to rest. Yi Jioga climbed up a 100-year-old banyan tree. Standing on a high branch, she gazed at the brightly lit Alchemy City. Every time this happened, she would miss Zishang. Although that guy was unreliable, he would always help her at crucial moments. Yi Jioga lowered her head and rubbed the purple mark on her arm. It had been almost half a month, yet there was still no movement from Zishang. She didn't know when he would come out. When he was here, she felt annoyed. Now that he wasn't here, she missed him. Just as Yi Jioga was silently scolding herself for being unreasonable, the mark seemed to move. Her eyes widened and she hurriedly raised her hand to observe. The flat mark was still dim without any change. It seemed that she was thinking too much. Forget it, it was better to rest and recover enough energy to save Wan Ziang. Yi Jiuge pulled down her sleeves and prepared to close her eyes. Suddenly, a loud noise came from the distant walls of Alchemy City. Yi Yu and Bai Songling, who were pretending to be asleep, woke up. Luo Tian and Juni Chen also came to Yi Jiuge's side and looked towards the walls. They saw that the walls were brightly lit. Then several sky lanterns lit up. Below them were several shining words, "Surrender and you won't kill Wan Ziang." It was a blatant threat. "Eldest miss, what should we do?" Bai Songling looked at the words with a pale face. She was very uncertain. The Crown Prince and Su Junqing hated Wan Ziang to the bone. It was very possible that they would use him as an example. "Let's wait and see," Yi Jiuge said in a low voice. No matter what, Wan Ziang was an imperial envoy appointed by the emperor. The Crown Prince didn't dare to act rashly. After all, he still had to return to Shangjing. At that time, if Dongfang Ke were to cause trouble and impeach him in front of the emperor, it would be difficult for the Crown Prince to explain. Yi Jiuge's guess was right. The Crown Prince really didn't dare to kill Wan Ziang. "Crown Prince, now is the time to make a decision. If you don't sacrifice the child, you can't trap the wolf," Su Junqing advised. For him, killing Wan Ziang was the best choice. Chapter 195. Wan Ziang is my father's man. If I deal with him rashly, I will anger my father. The Crown Prince disagreed firmly. He knew his father too well. Although he could sentence Wan Ziang to death based on the fact that he had slandered him, his father had no right to kill him. However, only his father could issue the order to kill him. If he did, it would be a seizure of power. "Your Highness, there is no need to worry. The plan for the capital is a success. Even the emperor is no cause for concern." Su Junqing's words were straightforward. The spies in the capital had already started to attack Emperor Xuanwu. There was no need to care about his anger. "Let's wait until they succeed." The Crown Prince glanced at Su Junqing. It was not that he did not believe in Su Junqing's ability. It was because his father was a spiritual master, and there were many experts protecting him in the palace. It was unlikely that he would succeed. Therefore he had to be prepared for both eventualities. Seeing that the Crown Prince would not listen to him, Su Junqing gave up. Anyway, Wan Ziang was doomed. There was no need to fall out with the Crown Prince over such a small matter. He changed his mind. "Since you are unwilling to use Wan Ziang as bait, let's use someone else." "Who do you want to use as bait?" The Crown Prince was confused. Other than Wan Ziang, they did not have anyone else. "I heard that Yi Jiuge loves her maidservants very much. I wonder if it is true." Su Junqing smiled sinisterly. Previously he'd used the young maid, Hua Dai, as bait and successfully lured Yi Jiuge to the pile of rocks. This time he would use Yu Dai as bait. In the Flying Frost Pavilion in the Medicine Refinery Complex, Yi Rui clenched her small fists and stood in front of Yu Dai. She glared at Yi Shanshan like a little beast and said, "No, Yu Dai is my maidservant. You cannot take her away." "Fourth sister, Yu Dai is eldest sister's maidservant. How did she become yours?" A cold smile flashed across Yi Shanshan's delicate face. She said slowly, "Eldest sister has committed a heinous crime. I advise you not to get involved in this mess. Eldest sister is not a sorcerer. You are the ones who are falsely accusing her," Yi Rui shrieked angrily. This morning, big sister had clearly cleared her name. Suddenly, something happened to Master Dongfang, and the situation was reversed. She didn't understand what had happened, but she clearly saw her father and second sister adding insult to injury. Together with the Crown Prince, they wronged eldest sister. "Shut up." Yi Shanshan narrowed her eyes. Suddenly she raised her hand and slapped Yi Rui. Yi Rui was only 7 years old this year. Although she had outstanding potential, she had not been cultivating for long. She was far from being Yi Shanshan's match. She was immediately sent flying with a slap, crashing into a pile of tables and chairs. Fourth young mistress. Qing Hu and Qing Lu's expressions changed drastically as they hurriedly rushed over. Yu Dai also wanted to check on fourth young mistress's injuries, but she was held down by Yi Shanshan's bodyguards, gagged and tied up. "Fourth sister, please don't blame me. I slapped you for your own good. If father was here, I'm afraid this matter wouldn't be resolved with just a slap." Yi Shanshan pretended to sigh and left with the guards. Yi Rui's hair was disheveled and her small face was swollen like a pig's head. She looked at Yi Shanshan's retreating figure with hatred. Once again she hated herself for speaking so lowly. If she had eldest sister's ability, she would not have ended up like this. Fourth young mistress, you have done your best. Take care of yourself. Eldest miss will not blame you if she knows. Qing Hu and Qing Lu were sobbing. Yi Rui bit her lip and forced back her tears. She stood up and walked to the table. She picked up the alchemy cultivation book and began to read. There was only one burning thought in her mind. I want to become stronger, stronger and stronger. Outside Medicine Refinery City, in a small forest, Yi Jioga and the others were slowly approaching Medicine Refinery City. Although Yi Jioga was certain that the Crown Prince would not dare to make a move, it was better to be safe than sorry. Just then there was a change on the noisy wall. The Kongming lanterns fell and a new row of glowing words appeared. Yu Dai will not be killed if she surrenders. Then a young girl wearing a jade green dress was hung from the wall. Yu Dai. Yi Jioga's eyes narrowed. He could tell at a glance that the little girl was Yu Dai. Despicable and shameless. How dare you use a young girl to extort a confession? Are you even human? Bai Songling gritted his teeth and clenched his fists in anger. Eldest miss, let's go and save her. Yi Yu said calmly. We must save her. Otherwise Su Junqing will think that we are cowards. Bai Songling agreed. Yi Jioga did not speak. Her face was as calm as water, but her eyes seemed to be burning with fire. The Crown Prince did not dare kill Wan Ziang, but he definitely dared to kill Yu Dai. She did not want the innocent Yu Dai to suffer. However, if she surrendered so easily, they would lose the initiative and would not be able to deal with the Crown Prince and Su Junqing in the future. If she was alone, she would do anything, even if it was a mountain of blades or a sea of flames. However, this matter involved too many things. Sorcerers, Dongfang Yao, Li Zijuan, Wan Ziang, she could not only care about her own feelings. She was in a dilemma. She was in a dilemma. Just as Yi Jioga was in a dilemma, a familiar, seductive voice sounded in her mind. If you want to go, then go. At the city gates of Medicine Refinery City, Yu Dai was tied behind her back and hung from the wall. Her head hung low, and her thin, frail body looked lonely and miserable in the night wind. Yi Jioga, if you surrender obediently, I will spare this little sorcerer's life. If you don't blame us for being rude to her. Su Junqing's cold voice rang out from Medicine Refinery City. Yu Dai struggled to raise her head and shouted, Eldest miss, don't worry about me. They instructed Hua Dai to frame you. However, before she could finish speaking, she let out a scream. It turned out that one of Su Junqing's guards had lashed her body with a whip. Add some chili water to her. It doesn't matter if you cripple her as long as she doesn't die, Su Junqing instructed calmly. Yes. The guard's name was Gan Er. He was tall and thin with triangular eyes and broom-like eyebrows. He looked very sinister and he loved to extort confessions through torture. This was the first time he had displayed his skills in front of the entire city. He was very excited and immediately prepared a bucket of chili water. He dipped his whip in it and flung it at Yu Dai. The whip, which had been dipped in chili water, broke her skin, and the burning pain rushed straight to her head. It was so painful that it could drive a person crazy. Yu Dai was in so much pain that her whole body convulsed. Her hands, which were tied behind her back, were even worse. She clenched her teeth and swallowed the screams and blood into her stomach. She knew that these evil people wanted to use her to lure the eldest Mississippi. She could not let them have their way. Not bad, little girl. A fierce glint flashed across Gan Er's face, and his entire body contorted with excitement. He switched to a whip with barbs. Not only was this whip more painful, but it could also destroy Yu Dai's clothes. When he thought of Yu Dai's clothes being torn, her naked body covered in blood from his whipping, and the entire city admiring this masterpiece with him, he was so excited that his eyes turned red. Chapter 196. Little girl, enjoy it. Gan Er raised his whip covered in chili water and lashed it towards Yu Dai's chest. Yu Dai closed her eyes and gritted her teeth, waiting for the pain to come. However, the pain didn't come. Instead, the ropes binding her snapped and the wind whistled by her ears. Yu Dai suddenly opened her eyes and saw a sky-blue figure floating towards her, carrying her as they landed safely on the ground. Young mistress. Yu Dai looked at the beautiful face in front of her and thought that she was dreaming. It's fine now. Yi Jioga quickly checked Yu Dai's body and only handed her to Bai Songling after seeing that she only suffered flesh wounds. You really came? Su Junqing felt that Yi Jioga was an idiot. She was only an insignificant maid, yet she personally came to take a risk. She was truly soft-hearted. As for Yu Dai being saved, Su Junqing didn't care. Without Yu Dai there was still Qing Hu and Qing Lu. Yi Shanshan told him that the two maids were also transferred from Yi Jioga's side. Su Junqing, you're the first young noble of the Su clan, yet you used an innocent 12-year-old girl to lure me out. You even beat her up in front of the entire city. I don't know if this is the Su clan's tradition or the crown prince's order. Yi Jioga stood in front of the city gates. Her eyes were clear and calm, but her expression was even more arrogant. The night breeze blew her long black hair. She looked like a fairy riding the clouds, elegant and transcendent. Her voice wasn't loud, but it echoed throughout the city. At this time, the residents of Alchemy City were restless. No one was sleeping. Although the Crown Prince and Su Junqing's group had been spreading rumors that Yu Dai was Yi Jioga's accomplice and a heretical cultivator, the beating was too cruel. Especially those with young daughters. They hugged their children tightly and covered their ears, not daring to let them see this cruel side. Regardless of Yi Jioga's reputation, she appeared out of nowhere and saved her maid. This righteousness was admirable. The Crown Prince's heart skipped a beat after hearing Yi Jioga's words. As the Crown Prince, he had to prioritize righteousness. Using such sinister methods was indeed damaging to his reputation. Su Junqing calmly said, Yi Jioga, you killed people, skinned them, sucked their blood to cultivate and committed heinous crimes. You still have the face to say that my methods are cruel? Evil cultivators go against the heavens, and everyone has the right to punish them. I was just acting out of convenience. If you had surrendered obediently, I wouldn't have treated them like this. I can surrender. Yi Jioga abruptly interrupted Su Junqing's long speech. What? Su Junqing was stunned, thinking that he had misheard. Young mistress. Bai Songling and Yi Yu exclaimed at the same time. Just now in the dense forest, they couldn't bear to see the little maidservant suffer and decided to come out to save her, but they didn't say that they would surrender. But I have two conditions. Yi Jioga's beautiful face was like the tranquil surface of a lake without any ripples. Tell me about it. Su Junqing asked with great interest. First, kill the guard who attacked just now. Yi Jioga's cold voice contained an undisguised killing intent. When Ganair heard this, the blood drained from his face and he immediately fell to his knees. Just as he was about to beg for mercy, he saw Lord Su move his finger and a black light shot into his body, sealing his begging in his throat. Su Junqing gave a look to the guard beside him. The short and sturdy guard immediately stepped on Ganair, making him unable to move. What's the second condition? Su Junqing stopped. Although killing a donkey after it had outlived its usefulness wasn't good, he didn't care about such a small matter anymore. Second, send Wanziang out. Yi Jioga raised her voice. Su Junqing couldn't help but frown. He didn't hastily agree to Yi Jioga's condition but asked, will you surrender alone or will you bring them along? I will exchange myself for Wanziang. Yi Jioga said word by word. Young mistress, you can't. Yi Yu immediately objected. I'm closest to Xiang, you should let me exchange him. Bai Songling shouted anxiously. Young mistress, this matter should be considered at length. Luo Tian also disagreed. Feeding oneself to a tiger was the most foolish thing to do. Jun Yichen silently rolled his eyes. I've made up my mind. Yi Jioga turned around with her back facing Su Junqing. Her expression was indifferent as she looked at Bai Songling and the others with her bright eyes. Then, she mischievously winked and silently said, listen to me. Bai Songling and Yi Yu were stunned and couldn't help but look at each other. The two of them had known Yi Jioga for the longest time and knew that she always had a lot of cunning ideas and powerful methods. She never did anything that she wasn't sure of. Seeing that Bai Songling and Yi Yu had agreed, Luo Tian and Jun Yichen no longer objected. Just as Yi Jioga was exchanging signals with Bai Songling and the others, Su Junqing was also discussing with the Crown Prince whether to agree to Yi Jioga's condition. Your Highness, I think we can use the half-dead Wanziang to exchange for Yi Jioga. Su Junqing's attitude was very firm. He was determined to get Yi Jioga. However, the Crown Prince was still a little hesitant and said unhappily, Yi Jioga said to exchange, then wouldn't we lose face? If they want to exchange, then let them all exchange. Your Highness, Yi Jioga is undoubtedly their leader. If she falls into our hands, will the others be able to escape? Su Junqing smiled confidently. That's true. The Crown Prince thought about it and felt that Su Junqing's words were quite reasonable. He smiled and said, Yi Jioga really is an idiot. She really thinks that using herself to exchange for someone else is righteous. Wait until she falls into our hands and we'll deal with her. As the Crown Prince spoke, an ominous glint appeared in his eyes. He had probably already thought of countless tortures to deal with Yi Jioga. Your Highness, no matter what, Yi Jioga's surname is Yi. Even though she and Grandmaster Yi have fallen out, she still has some face. Your Highness, please bear with it and don't make things difficult for Grandmaster Yi, Su Junqing earnestly advised. This is Grandmaster Ye's idea? The Crown Prince frowned. If this really was Yi Yuxuan's idea, then he really had to consider it. Recently, many large families in Shangjing had been roped in by Dongfang, Quebec. He urgently needed Yi Yuxuan's support. Su Junqing subtly nodded. The Su family and Yi family were in-laws, so in the Crown Prince's eyes, they were family. This could indeed represent Yi Yuxuan's attitude. All right then. Even though the Crown Prince felt that it was a pity that he couldn't immediately deal with Yi Jioga, there was still a long way to go. The Crown Prince is wise. Su Junqing let out a slight sigh of relief. Yi Jioga was someone that the bloodthirsty ancestor wanted, so he definitely couldn't be lost. After Su Junqing and the Crown Prince finished their discussion, he ordered the guards beside him, "Go and bring Wan Ziang over." The guards obeyed and left. Su Junqing then said to Yi Jioga, who was at the bottom of the city wall, "I agree to your conditions. To show my sincerity, I'll give you the first condition." With that, he threw Ganair down the city wall. Chapter 197. Yi Jioga looked coldly at the guard who fell in a straight line and finally smashed his head into the mud, creating a flower of blood. He's dead. Bai Songling glanced at him and knew that the guard couldn't be saved. That's good. We don't have to dirty our hands. Yi Jioga withdrew her gaze indifferently and looked at the gate of the city wall. Soon the gate opened. Su Junqing led a group of guards and walked out, carrying a military green stretcher. Wan Ziang was lying on the stretcher. From a distance, his face was as pale as a dead man, and his breathing was very low. "What did you do to him?" Bai Songling roared in shock and anger. "Brother Bai, don't be nervous. Brother Wan is fine. He was seriously injured before and has not recovered. He wanted to get out of bed and jump. I was afraid that his injury would worsen, so I fed him some muscle-softening powder," Su Junqing said lightly. Yi Jioga pulled the furious Bai Songling and whispered, "I have the antidote for the muscle-softening powder in my bag. Give it to him after the exchange." She left all the antidotes behind before she left. "I see. Miss, please be careful." Bai Songling nodded vigorously. "Miss, if you've discussed it, then come over." Although Su Junqing was smiling, he was actually very nervous. He was also worried that Bai Songling would suddenly snatch him. It would be a joke if he suffered a double loss. Yi Jioga calmly walked toward Su Junqing. The guards carrying Wan Ziang avoided her and walked toward Bai Songling and the others. They brushed past each other. Wan Ziang was successfully received by Bai Songling and the others. Yi Jioga also came to Su Junqing's side. "Miss Yi is really righteous. I admire you." Su Junqing looked at Yi Jioga and smiled, but his eyes began to turn pale red. A hazy power enveloped Yi Jioga's body. Yi Jioga felt a little dizzy and her body couldn't help but shake. She knew that Su Junqing was using the mind-bewitching spell on her, so she didn't resist and let him do it. After Su Junqing was sure that Yi Jioga was under the mind-bewitching spell, he began to ask, "Where is Lu Yunfei?" "She was killed by our joint attack," Yi Jioga replied. Su Junqing's pupils constricted. Although he had a bad premonition when he heard that Yi Jioga and the others had left the city to chase after the injured Lu Yunfei. But when he found out that she was really dead, he was still very surprised. After all, Lu Yunfei's strength was extraordinary. She was also very cautious and cunning. No one would have thought that she would die so easily. Forget it, death is death. In any case, as long as he could complete the task given by the old ancestor would not fuss about this. Su Junqing made up his mind and asked, "What about her corpse and storage bag?" This was the main point. "The corpse is buried in a red clay valley 300 miles away from the city. The storage bag is with Yi Jioga said honestly. The 150 kilometers of red clay valley was the base that they had discussed before. It seemed that Yi Jioga had not lied. Su Junqing then said to Yi Jioga, "Eldest miss, for safety's sake, please hand over all your weapons to me for safekeeping." "I don't have any weapons. I gave them to Bai Songling and the others before I came," Yi Jioga replied in a daze. Su Junqing glanced at Yi Jioga and saw that she did not have any decorations on her body. Her dress was also quite tight and did not look like it could be used to store things. He believed her. "Then please?" Su Junqing led the way in front. "Yi Jioga, to think that you would have such a day." The Crown Prince stood on the stairs nearby and sneered. Yi Jioga's eyes were a bit dull as if she did not hear the Crown Prince's words. The crown prince frowned and was about to explode, but he was stopped by Su Junqing. Your Highness, we still have many things to do. Why don't we take Yi Jioga to the prison first and lock her up with the spirit forbidden hoop? Very well, the spirit forbidden hoop suits her the best. The crown prince nodded in satisfaction. Alchemy City's death prison was equipped with a spirit forbidden hoop. This chain was made from spirit-absorbing stone. After wearing it, it would seal the spiritual force of a martial artist. Because wearing it for a long time would damage the meridians of the body, it was not used when they locked Yi Jioga up. In the dark and damp prison, the iron bars of the death prison shone coldly under the dim candlelight. After passing through a corridor filled with a musty smell, they walked to the deepest part of the prison, the only death prison of Alchemy City. Dong Fengyao was not a bloodthirsty person. Alchemy City had been established for a long time, but the death prison had only locked up a few bandits who had committed murder. In the last 5 years, no one had been living here. The corners were covered with moss and rats and cockroaches were running all over the floor. Not to mention a bed, there was not even a pile of hay. The spirit forbidden hoop was on the gray wall, and the mottled iron chain bound 2 gray bracelets. Eldest miss, please. Su Junqing walked to the wall and smiled while holding the 2 gray bracelets. His eyes flashed red. On the surface he looked very relaxed, but his whole body was very tense, afraid that Yi Jioga would suddenly explode and escape. Behind Yi Jioga, a group of intermediate spiritualist guards surrounded her in a circle. Yi Jioga acted as if she did not know that the spirit forbidden hoop would harm her. She silently walked forward, and her azure sleeves slid down, revealing her snow-white arms. After Su Junqing put the gray spirit forbidden hoop on Yi Jioga's hand, he finally felt relieved and couldn't help but laugh. Yi Jioga, you finally fell into my hands. Half of the task was completed, and his heart was indescribably comfortable. Next, he just had to wait for Xiong Yunhu to transport the oriental medicine out. As for Wan Ziang and the others, he was not in a hurry to capture them. Previously, when he helped the bloodthirsty sect collect girls and spiritualists, he could only be sneaky and restrained. Now that Wan Ziang, Bai Songling and the others were his scapegoats, he just had to be bold in the future. Yi Jioga had been very sluggish and did not respond to Su Junqing's laughter. After Su Junqing laughed enough, he proudly left with the guards. The death cell immediately fell into darkness, and one could not see their fingers in front of them. A dirty and fat big rat came out of the corner and curiously circled around Yi Jioga. It bared its big teeth and wanted to take a bite of this fragrant prey. The sound of chains suddenly rang out, scaring the big dirty rat into fleeing. Yi Jioga, who was a little sluggish, slowly opened her eyes. Her eyes were clear and she whispered, "Didn't you say you have a way to help me settle it? Why aren't you coming out?" Little Jioga is really impatient. After not seeing this sovereign for so long, you want to do it as soon as you come out? A pleasant light laughter sounded in the dark death cell, like the night wind blowing through the valley. Stop being so long-winded. This bracelet is super uncomfortable to wear. Hurry up and untie it for me. Yi Jioga forcefully pulled it. The chains rattled and the spirit forbidden hoop flashed with a gray light. It pierced into Yi Jioga's wrist and sealed all the spiritual power in her body. Tsk, little Jioga's temper is really getting worse. It seems that when this sovereign is not here, your days are not good. Zishang laughed softly. A tall and straight figure gradually appeared in front of Yi Jioga. Chapter 198. The originally pitch-black prison cell lit up with starlight, illuminating his entire body. His long purple hair became jet black and soft, tied with a golden crown, and the rest of his hair was scattered behind his head like a crow's feather. His purple vertical pupils became unfathomably deep, occasionally flashing with light that was a proud and peerless sharpness. Wearing a dark purple robe with dark patterns, he stood tall like a jade, outstanding like an immortal. Most importantly, that long black snake tail turned into a pair of long legs. You really turned into a human? Yi Jioga suddenly opened her eyes wide. Although she had some guesses when Zishang mentioned the form transformation beat. But when she saw this demon snake really turn into a human, she still felt very shocked. Don't you want this sovereign to stay by your side day and night? Zishang's coquettish face had a touch of helplessness and pampering, looking like he was thinking for Yi Jioga. It's not too convenient to be in the original body, it's better to be in the human body. Who wants you to stay by my side day and night? Yi Jioga was crazy to want this guy to accompany her day and night. Oh. Zishang raised his eyebrows, turned and walked towards the prison door. Then this sovereign is leaving. Come back. Yi Jioga hurriedly stretched out her hand. She was now wearing the spirit-forbidden hoop. She couldn't use all her energy. If Zishang didn't save her, she would become the meat on the Crown Prince and Su Juanqing's chopping board. What are you coming back for? Zishang stood at the door and slightly turned his head, his handsome face full of ridicule, his black eyes full of interest, obviously teasing Yi Jioga. Come back and stay with me, accompany me day and night. Yi Jioga bit the bullet and finished saying this. Goosebumps kept appearing on her body. She was about to be disgusted to death by herself. Since you are so sincere, then this sovereign will be merciful and come back. Zishang returned to Yi Jioga's side, bent over in front of her, smiled and said, to show my sincerity, kiss one first. Yi Jioga's face twitched. Why did she feel that Zishang in human form was even more shameless? Why aren't you saying anything? Zishang raised his eyebrows, suddenly realizing, this sovereign knows you think one kiss is too little, right? If I really can't do anything, then I'll kiss too. Damn you. Yi Jioga really wanted to vomit blood. To prevent Zishang from acting shamelessly again, Yi Jioga braced himself and kissed Zishang's face. Zishang turned his head around and kissed Yi Jioga. Her soft lips and faint fragrance turned the entire dark cell pink. As Zishang kissed Yi Jioga, he did not forget to grab the 2 rings on Yi Jioga's hands. His palms spat out a pale purple flame, and the ring fell to the ground with a thud. The familiar spirit energy returned to Yi Jioga. She finally woke up from Zishang's intoxication and pushed him away. There's still one more kiss. I still owe you. Zishang placed her slender fingers on her red lips and winked at Yi Jioga. You want me to owe you the moment I come out? I might as well not have come out. Yi Jioga cursed inwardly as he rubbed his somewhat numb wrist. This spirit-forbidden hoop was really powerful. She had only worn it for a while and her wrist was already hurting. Although Zishang had taken human form, some of his habits hadn't changed. He hugged Yi Jioga and rested his chin on her forehead. After taking a sniff, he asked with some disgust, how long has it been since you washed your hair? I've been working hard outside every day, where would I have the time to wash my hair? Yi Jioga secretly cursed Zishang for being unreasonable in her heart, but she still had a bright smile on her face as she said, when I rescue Master Dongfang and Li Zijuan, I'll immediately go wash my hair and make myself smell good, okay? That's more like it. Zishang was quite satisfied with Yi Jioga's attitude. You see, I'm just one person and I don't have any weapons on me. If I walk out like this, I'm afraid I'll be caught immediately. I wonder if the king has any tricks? Yi Jioga said with a flattering smile. She came in with all her might and could only count on Zishang. Simple. Zishang stretched out his hand and drew a concealment talisman on Yi Jioga's forehead and said, just walk out like this. Those guards won't be able to see you. You have the time it takes for an incense to burn. The time it takes for an incense to burn is enough. Yi Jioga's eyes lit up as she realized that Zishang had woken up just in time. However, this sovereign has to remind you that this sovereign's demonic power has been used to devour the transformation fruit. Right now, the amount of demonic power that this sovereign can use every day is limited. Just now, when I helped you remove the spirit-forbidden hoop and drew this concealment talisman, I have consumed a lot of it. Now I only have a third of it left. Zishang said. What do you mean? Yi Jioga suddenly felt that something was wrong. It means that when we fight, you go first. If you can't beat this sovereign, then I'll take you and escape. Zishang's smile was very charming, like a blooming epiphyllum in the night, with a light fragrance. It was simply beautiful. But Yi Jioga only wanted to beat him up. Or if you want to escape now, that's fine. Zishang expressed that he was a very democratic person. Let's fight first. Yi Jioga spent a lot of effort to sneak in. It was not her style to escape without even seeing the person. Fine. Zishang did not care. Wait. Yi Jioga bent down, lifted the hem of her skirt and muttered, fortunately, I already knew that you are unreliable. A thin silver rope was tied around Yi Jioga's calf. It was the shrunken thunder snake illusionary whip. After she surrendered, she showed weakness everywhere, and even willingly let Su Juanqing confuse her, all in order to hide this weapon. Yi Jioga untied the thunder snake illusionary whip and wrapped it around her waist again. Then she asked Zishang, can I attack while in the concealment state? Yes, but the moment you attack, the concealment state will automatically be removed. Zishang said. That's good. Yi Jioga slightly heaved a sigh of relief. With this opportunity to sneak attack, her chances of winning were higher. You go in front. This sovereign will protect you from behind. After Zishang finished speaking, he also concealed his figure. Yi Jioga quietly left the death prison. Along the way, the prison guards turned a blind eye to her. The moment she came out of the death prison, she discovered that there were many hidden guards lying in ambush. There were traps everywhere and poison was everywhere. Needless to say, they were to prevent Bai Songling and the others from breaking into the prison to rescue her. Yi Jioga did not alarm the hidden guards. Instead, she tiptoed towards the medicine refinement pavilion. The guards along the way were very strict. When she arrived near the medicine refinement pavilion, there was a guard every 10 steps. If not for Zishang's concealment talisman, it would have been extremely difficult for her to get close to this place. Yi Jioga avoided the guards and quietly entered Dongfang Yao's room. The room was filled with the strong smell of medicine. Dongfang Yao was lying on the bed. His old face was dark and his breathing was weak. Su Junqing and Xiong Yunhu stood by Dongfang Yao's bed and talked. Yi Jioga hid in the dark and couldn't help but frown. The concealment talisman only lasted for the time it takes for a joss stick to burn. If the two of them kept talking, it would be troublesome. Chapter 199. Although Yi Jioga had never fought with Xiong Yunhu, she knew from Lu Yunfei's words that he was a tough one. She had no confidence in a one-on-one fight, and with Su Junqing added, she would definitely lose. She had to think of a way to lure Su Junqing away. At this moment, Zishang's finger suddenly landed on Yi Jioga's back. She didn't know what he was drawing, but it was ticklish. Yi Jioga's face darkened. At this time, he was still trying to take advantage of her. Could he please look at the location? Zishang seemed to have guessed Yi Jioga's thoughts, and knocked her head before starting to draw again. After Yi Jioga calmed down, she realized that Zishang was drawing the word, wait. Alright. Since Zishang wants to wait, then let's wait. Hopefully they can finish their conversation quickly. Su Junqing didn't know that Yi Jioga was secretly peeping. He was reporting the news of Yi Jioga to Xiong Yunhu. Yi Jioga has already put on the spirit forbidden hoop and is locked in the death prison. I have set up many traps in the surroundings. If Bai Songling and the rest rush over to save them, I guarantee that they won't be able to escape. I don't care what happens to Bai Songling and Wan Ziang, but those two blood-clothed Miao people and Yi Jioga must be left to me. Xiong Yunhu said coldly. Ever since Elder Ancestor devoured the blood-clothed Miao people's tribe leader, he realized that he was tricked by that tribe leader, and many of his bloodline secrets were leaked. Elder Ancestor had sent a few people to search for the remaining members of the blood-clothed Miao people, but there were no results. If he could bring these two people back to Elder Ancestor, it would be a great merit. But Lu Yunfei and Old Jiang are both dead. Can you bring so many people alone? Su Junqing frowned and said disapprovingly, don't forget, our mission is to bring Dongfang Yao back to Elder Ancestor as a primer. He spent a lot of effort to rope in Zhang Peng, and only then did he succeed in poisoning Dongfang Yao. This poison was made by Elder Ancestor using his own blood essence and Snow Spider King poison. There was only one portion in this world, there wouldn't be any more. You don't need to worry about this, just mind your own business. Xiong Yunhu grabbed Su Junqing's shirt and lifted him up fiercely. He even dared to snatch Lu Yunfei's things, let alone Su Junqing, an outer disciple. If not for the fact that this person was still useful, just based on what he had said just now, he would have died without a doubt. Senior brother, please calm down. Junior brother was wrong. Su Junqing felt Xiong Yunhu's ferocious gaze and shivered in fear. Previously, he thought that Lu Yunfei was the one in charge of the overall situation. It was only later that he found out that the real main force was this Xiong Yunhu. Xiong Yunhu was the eldest disciple of Forefather Bloodthirsty. He had received all the teachings of the Forefather. He was a cruel and ruthless person, and he would often kill people and bleed them to cultivate. He was a terrifying person in Bloodthirsty sect. Xiong Yunhu finally let go of Su Junqing. Su Junqing didn't even dare to tidy up his clothes. He immediately smiled apologetically and said, Senior brother, Junior brother was also worried that something would go wrong. That's why he said the wrong thing. I hope Senior brother can be magnanimous and not lower himself to Junior brother's level. Alright, less nonsense. I'll give you an hour to find Lu Yunfei's body. Otherwise don't blame me for falling out. Xiong Yunhu grinned. His snow-white teeth were even scarier than a shark's. Lu Yunfei was one of the top 10 experts in Bloodthirsty sect. Her body was also an excellent material for blood refinement. If he could absorb Lu Yunfei's body, his cultivation would definitely increase by another level. Unfortunately, he still had to look after Dongfang Yao, an important target. Otherwise he would go himself. Yes, Junior brother will go now. Su Junqing nodded repeatedly. He understood Xiong Yunhu's meaning very well. If he couldn't bring Lu Yunfei's body back to Xiong Yunhu, he would kill himself. Scram. Xiong Yunhu impatiently waved his hand and sat cross-legged on the floor. He took out a blood bottle from his storage bag and drank a few mouthfuls. Then he greedily looked at the unconscious Dong Fangyao. If Dong Fangyao wasn't poisoned and only the forefather had the antidote, he really wanted to secretly drink a few mouthfuls. After all, with Dong Fangyao's cultivation, every mouthful of blood was essence. Su Junqing obediently left the room. He looked back at Xiong Yunhu's back with eyes full of hatred. If it weren't for the fact that he was too weak right now, he would definitely kill Xiong Yunhu. Once he gets the cultivation technique bestowed by the forefather, he will definitely trample on these people. Yi Jioga had been quietly lying by the side. After Su Junqing left, she took out the lightning snake illusionary whip from her waist and dripped blood onto the snake's mouth. She silently said in her heart, "Demonic power, unseal." After sucking the blood, the lightning snake illusionary whip slowly opened its blood-red eyes. Compared to the previous berserk attacks, the silent lightning snake illusionary whip was much more dangerous. It was silent and undetectable, like a poisonous snake hiding in the grass, ready to deal a fatal blow at any time. Yi Jioga didn't hastily attack. She only had one chance. She had to find the right time and hit the target. Although Xiong Yunhu was cultivating, he still paid a bit of attention to the situation outside, ready to deal with any sudden incidents. Just as he was about to end his cultivation, he relaxed a little. At this moment, his heart suddenly twitched, startling him so much that he immediately opened his eyes. Every time he felt this kind of palpitation, he would encounter danger. The stronger the palpitation, the heavier the danger. In his early years, when he hadn't finished cultivating the blood sea technique, he often had this feeling. But ever since he killed the obstacle in front of him and became the eldest disciple of the bloodthirsty ancestor, he didn't have palpitation anymore. Xiong Yunhu didn't dare to underestimate his intuition for danger, so he immediately raised his guard. Suddenly, a wave of extremely terrifying spirit energy exploded from behind him, accompanied by a faint demonic aura. It covered the sky and drowned him. Xiong Yunhu immediately activated the red protective light and dashed to the side. But the attack was too fast and too close. He didn't have a chance to dodge. The red protective light just rose up and was smashed. Xiong Yunhu felt like a sharp blade had stabbed into his back. The huge force shook his internal organs, causing his blood energy to surge. His body flew up involuntarily, creating a big hole in the wall. After Yi Jioga attacked, the hidden aura was automatically removed. Although that attack had used up most of her spirit energy, she still didn't dare to relax. The lightning snake illusionary whip rose again, turning into a purple lightning snake that lashed at Xiong Yunhu. Boom. This time, it hit a thick cloud of blood mist. Xiong Yunhu stood up from the wall in a sorry state. His shirt was destroyed by the attack just now, revealing his body covered in blood. Especially his back, there was a huge scorched black scar. It was so deep that bones could be seen, and it was extremely hideous. It covered more than half of his back, and even his internal organs could be vaguely seen. Yi Jioga, why is it you? Aren't you wearing the spirit forbidden hoop? Xiong Yunhu never thought that Yi Jioga would sneak attack him from behind. Yi Jioga saw that Xiong Yunhu had already activated his defense, so it was impossible for him to sneak attack again. She said to provoke him, "You can't even guess why I'm here. You deserve to be killed." Chapter 200. It's Su Junqing, right? That bastard dared to trick me. Xiong Yunhu's face twisted. Now that Dong Fangyao had fallen and Lu Yunfei was dead, Su Junqing only needed to kill him to take all the credit. If he knew this would happen, he would have killed that bastard first. Yi Jioga raised her eyebrows. She didn't expect Xiong Yunhu to think of Su Junqing, but it was better if they fought each other. Thus, she laughed mockingly and continued acting, "Since you already know the truth, don't think of going back alive. You think you can kill me with this?" Xiong Yunhu roared fiercely. "I've already destroyed your organs. You're just an arrow at the end of its flight. Just obediently accept your death and I'll leave your corpse intact." Yi Jioga's attitude was arrogant, but she was actually terrified. The lightning snake illusionary whip's attack just now was no joke. If it was someone else, they would have been blasted into pieces. She didn't expect Xiong Yunhu to still be able to talk to her so energetically. "I want to see who dies first." Xiong Yunhu sneered and took out a blood pearl from his storage bag and swallowed it. Yi Jioga felt something was wrong and couldn't help but take a few steps back. After Xiong Yunhu ate the blood pearl, a strange red light spread out from his body. The wounds on his body and the hideous wound on his back immediately recovered. His aura exploded and blood mist shrouded his body. The smell of blood was so thick that it made people want to vomit. He was like a monster that crawled out of a pool of blood. You're not his match. Let's go. Zishang grabbed Yi Jioga's hand and prepared to escape. Wait. Yi Jioga looked at Xiong Yunhu, who was covered in blood, and had an idea. She raised her lightning snake illusionary whip and attacked Xiong Yunhu again. The purple lightning snake landed on Xiong Yunhu's head. He revealed a terrifying smile and his bloody hands pinched the purple lightning snake like he was pinching a bug. He pulled hard and the purple lightning dissipated. Yi Jioga's face instantly paled. The Xiong Yunhu was too terrifying. After using the blood pearl, he had already reached the realm of a spirit master. Go die. After Xiong Yunhu crushed Yi Jioga's purple lightning snake, he grinned fiendishly and stretched out his hand. The bloody mist condensed into two bloody hands that covered her head. Yi Jioga wanted to escape, but he discovered that Xiong Yunhu's blood mist had locked onto him, and he was unable to move. At the critical moment, Zishang grabbed Yi Jioga's waist and quickly retreated. They broke through the wall and left the room. Xiong Yunhu was stunned. He never expected that someone would rescue Yi Jioga right under his nose. He was already on the verge of exploding, and now he was even more enraged. With a roar, he gave chase. Yi Jioga jumped onto the highest floor of the alchemy pavilion and shouted with all his might, "The evil cultivator Xiong Yunhu is plotting to kill Master Dongfeng, quickly protect him." It was midnight and the whole city was under martial law. Everything was quiet. Yi Jioga's voice exploded like a clap of thunder, resounding through the clouds. Not only was the entire alchemy pavilion and alchemy pavilion alarmed, even the commoners in the city couldn't help but come out to see what was going on. After Yi Shanshan was awakened by Yi Jioga's voice, she immediately put on her clothes and rushed to Yi Yuxuan's side. She asked in bewilderment, "Father, didn't you say that big sister was locked in the dungeon with the spirit forbidden hoop? How did she escape?" "Who knows how she escaped? Go find the crown prince, I'll go take a look." Yi Yuxuan's expression was extremely ugly. He had a premonition that something bad must have happened. "Father, you must be careful," Yi Shanshan worriedly warned. "Go quickly." After Yi Yuxuan finished speaking, he swung his sleeves and left. Yi Shanshan immediately went to the Rising Heaven Pavilion to find the crown prince. Just as she entered the courtyard, she heard his angry voice, "Where did Su Junqing go?" "Your Highness, this subordinate brought people to search the entire alchemy pavilion, but we couldn't find young Master Su. The guards also said that they didn't see him leave." The guard leader reported in fear and trepidation. Continue searching for him for me." The crown prince's face was ashen. He wanted nothing more than to tear Su Junqing's corpse into 1,000 pieces. Yi Shanshan leaned against the door and advised from afar, "Your Highness, please calm down. Don't get angry and harm your body." "Speak, did you release Yi Jioga?" The crown prince's nostrils spewed hot air as he uncontrollably grabbed Yi Shanshan and roared, "Your Highness, our Yi mansion has already severed all ties with Yi Jioga. How could we release her? My father has already gone to the alchemy pavilion to capture her. Before he left, he specifically told me to find your Highness for help." Yi Shanshan was so scared that her entire body was trembling as she quickly explained. The crown prince's chest violently heaved a few times. Finally, he suppressed his anger and roared, "Someone, go to the alchemy pavilion." Outside the alchemy pavilion, Yi Yuxuan and Gong Honglei bumped into each other. "Grandmaster Yi, this Yi Jioga couldn't have been released by you, right?" Gong Honglei said half jokingly and half seriously. He didn't know that Yi Yuxuan and Yi Jioga's relationship was bad, so he used a normal father-daughter relationship to measure it. He felt that Yi Yuxuan couldn't just watch his own daughter go to jail. "If I released her, then I'll be struck by lightning and die a horrible death," Yi Jioga replied in a bad mood. Gong Honglei was shocked. He didn't expect Yi Yuxuan to swear such a deadly oath. He immediately felt a bit awkward and quickly changed the topic. "Forget it, we'll know who released her once we catch her." "That's right." Yi Yuxuan also wanted to know who else in the alchemy pavilion would dare to help Yi Jioga. The two of them walked side by side towards the alchemy pavilion. Just as they arrived at the door, they heard the panicked shouts of the guards inside. "Heavens, what is that? Idiot, can't you tell? Of course it's an evil cultivator." "But why would this evil cultivator jump out of Grandmaster Dongfang's room and fight with Yi Jioga?" Gong Honglei frowned, kicked the door open and rushed in. In the open space in front of the alchemy pavilion, he saw a tall blood man with evil aura chasing after Yi Jioge. Yi Jioge's body seemed to be pulled by someone, swaying left and right in a mess, but he was always able to escape the blood man's pursuit. What are you looking at? Are your dog eyes blind? Can't you tell who the evil cultivator is? Yi Jioge dodged while pointing at the guards and scolding, Grandmaster Dongfeng really raised you for nothing. It's not enough that you let a wolf into the house, you see the real culprit and you don't dare to catch him. When Grandmaster wakes up one day he'll definitely twist all your heads off and kick them around like balls. The guards were all dumbfounded. Yi Jioge was the target that the Crown Prince and Zhang Peng had personally ordered to capture. If they helped her, wouldn't that be a rebellion? But that blood man was really too strange. What are you still standing there for? Capture that blood man and Yi Jioge for me. Gong Honglei shouted. Only then did the guards come back to their senses. They raised their weapons and rushed forward. However, they all rushed towards Yi Jioge. That blood man was too scary. He could shatter a large rock with one palm. Going against him was simply courting death. Yi Jioge was so angry that he almost vomited blood. These guards were simply stirring shit. No, the real shit stirrer was Gong Honglei. Chapter 201. Yi Jioge once again dodged Xiong Yunhu and the guards' attacks. He turned his head and cursed at Gong Honglei. Gong Honglei, you blind dog. How dare you say you're from the Spiritualist Alliance? I think you're more like someone from the bloodthirsty sect. If your younger sister knew about this, she would definitely regret having a blind older brother. Shut up, all of you, step down. Gong Honglei roared, ordering the guards who were causing trouble to step down. Although he was certain that Yi Jioge was his sister's murderer, the scene in front of him made the bloody man look like a heretic cultivator. Yi Jioge knew that even if he escaped he could catch him again. However, he had to take down this bloody man immediately. Gong Honglei instantly made his decision. He pulled out the six-yang sword on his back and infused spirit energy into it. Golden spirit energy pierced through the sword, giving off a piercing light that seemed to cut through the air and pierce towards the bloody man. Xiong Yunhu didn't care about Gong Honglei's sword gleam and sent out a blood mist to block it. He didn't expect the golden sword gleam to be so tyrannical. Not only did it pierce through the blood mist, it pierced through his palm and stabbed into his chest. Ow. Xiong Yunhu let out a crazy roar after being heavily injured. The blood mist on his body condensed into a head-sized ball that exploded on Gong Honglei's body and sent him flying. Yi Jioge hit on the side like a wild beast. While Xiong Yunhu was dealing with Gong Honglei, a lightning snake illusionary whip whipped towards the sword wound on his chest. She had already sealed the demon artifact, so the lightning snake illusionary whip was only an ordinary totem. Although it wasn't as strong as the demon artifact, the lightning energy it contained had a certain restraining effect on Xiong Yunhu. The purple lightning snake landed on Xiong Yunhu's chest, widening the wound. Xiong Yunhu had been chasing Yi Jioge for a long time and was about to go crazy. Now that he was heavily injured again, he immediately roared in anger. He took out a blood bead from his storage bag and swallowed it. Not good, quickly kill him or you won't be able to escape. Yi Jioge shouted. One blood bead was enough for Xiong Yunhu to reach Spirit Master level. Now that he swallowed another one, it would be even more dangerous. Yi Yuxuan had been watching the battle from the side. When he heard this, he frowned and silently walked towards the door. He had only come here to take care of the evil girl Yi Jioge. He did not want to get involved in this mess. Most importantly, he instinctively felt that the bloody man was very dangerous. He was no match for him, so it was better for him to escape first. At this moment, Xiong Yunhu, who had swallowed the 2 blood pearls, had undergone a shocking transformation. His muscles suddenly swelled up and his entire body swelled up. The skin and flesh on his body ruptured and blood spurted out. The blood did not flow along his muscles to the ground. Instead, it fused into his protective blood mist. The blood mist spread wildly, instantly enveloping the entire alchemy pavilion. Yi Yuxuan was startled. He immediately activated his defensive spirit light and rushed toward the door, but he was bounced back by a ray of blood-red light. No one wants to leave here today. Xiong Yunhu's round eyes were bloodshot, and a terrifying light flashed in his pupils. His voice was hoarse like a crazed beast, filled with a bloodthirsty and violent aura. Countless small blood-colored bells condensed in the blood mist and flew to Xiong Yunhu's body, looking very funny. Zishang hugged Yi Jioge and whispered in her ear, "Be careful, this blood mist is strange." Of course. Yi Jioge nervously stared at the blood-colored bells on Xiong Yunhu's body. Before she even finished speaking, the blood-colored bells began to shake crazily. Waves of demonic sounds pierced her ears. It was as if countless ants had drilled into her flesh and blood and were gnawing at her. Yijioga trembled in discomfort. In the next moment, a cold aura drilled into her body from Zishang's palm, and like a river bursting through a dam, it sent the ants flying. The rest were devoured by the white bone fire in her dantian. Yi Yuxuan and Gong Honglei were not as lucky as Yijioga. They could only tremble and cover their ears, desperately resisting the demonic sound. It was fine for the two of them with high cultivation, but the guards who were only elementary spiritualists were in trouble. They let out shrill screams and exploded on the spot. Ah! Xiong Yunhu laughed crazily. He opened his mouth and sucked in the flesh and blood of the guards. He even licked his lips with relish. Yijioga looked at Xiong Yunhu's blood-red tongue, and goosebumps rose all over her body. Compared to Xiong Yunhu's move, Lu Yunfei's blood bells were like heavenly music. Grandmaster Yijioga, we must work together to take down this evil cultivator today. Otherwise, I'm afraid our lives will be in danger. Gong Honglei calmed his surging blood and looked at Xiong Yunhu vigilantly. Hehehe, didn't you say that I'm the leader of the evil cultivators and wanted to arrest me and execute me on the spot? Why do you want to cooperate with me now? Aren't you afraid that if word gets out, people will say that you're an accomplice of the evil cultivators? Yijioga sneered and mocked without holding back. Yijioga, don't be too proud. Even if this Xiong Yunhu is really an evil cultivator, it's hard to say that you're not his accomplice. Maybe you're not even dividing the spoils and are trying to take advantage of him. Gong Honglei scolded. According to what you said, I shouldn't help you even more. Yijioga was really angered by Gong Honglei's words. If you don't want to help, then don't. Gong Honglei angrily raised his sword and flew towards Xiong Yunhu. He was able to join the Spiritualist Alliance not only because of the Gong family's background, but also because of his talent in swordsmanship. He was already a level 2 sword master and had a certain level of mastery in the Gung metal sword technique. Under the same cultivation level, sword cultivators were the strongest, which was why he had such a fiery temper. I'll help you. After Yi Yuxuan was unable to break through the blood mist several times, he had already understood the situation. If they didn't kill this evil cultivator, they wouldn't be able to leave this place. He decisively took out a palm-sized fire gourd, which contained the flames he had collected over the years. Although it couldn't compare to the spiritual fire of heaven and earth, it was still very magical. If it wasn't for the fact that the situation was critical, he wouldn't have taken it out. Yi Yuxuan injected spirit power into the fire gourd, and a greenish-red flame shot out, stabbing towards Xiong Yunhu along with Gong Honglei's sword light. The golden sword light with the greenish-red flame broke through the thick blood mist and rushed forward with an unstoppable momentum. Seeing this, Yijioga hurriedly controlled the Thunder Snake illusionary whip to follow behind them. It's useless, save some spirit power, Zishang said lazily. In such a tense situation he was like an outsider, covering his mouth and yawning from time to time. If you don't want to help, then forget it. Don't pour cold water on me. Yijioga scolded. Not only was Zishang not angry, he even said lewdly, Fine, you can speak if you have big breasts. Chapter 202. Sarcasm. This was blatant sarcasm. Although Yijioga had started to develop recently, she was still far from having big breasts. If not for the situation being dire, Yijioga really wanted to beat Zishang to death. Unfortunately, she was no match for him. In her anger, Yijioga turned her humiliation into strength and whipped a purple lightning snake at Xiong Yunhu. Insignificant tricks, you dare to be impudent. Xiong Yunhu waved her hands and dispersed Yijioga's purple lightning snake. Yijioga's whip was just to make up the numbers. What was truly effective were Yi Yuxuan's flames and Gong Honglei's sword rays. Unexpectedly, the blood mist on Xiong Yunhu's body surged out and extinguished Yi Yuxuan's azure flames like a flood. Yi Yuxuan's face paled and he took 2 steps back. Although he had held back in his attack just now, he was still extremely shocked that he had been defeated so easily. Fortunately, Gong Honglei's 6-yang sword was still flying. Xiong Yunhu stretched out his blood-red hand towards the 6-yang sword. The golden sword ray twisted like a fish and nimbly dodged Xiong Yunhu's hand. Yijioga's eyes lit up when she saw Gong Honglei's sword ray break through the defense. Go! Gong Honglei shouted and controlled the 6-yang sword to stab at Xiong Yunhu's eyes. Unexpectedly, Xiong Yunhu suddenly opened his mouth and bit the 6-yang sword. There was a cracking sound. The sound of the sword breaking could be heard. Xiong Yunhu actually bit Gong Honglei's 6-yang sword into pieces. The six-yang sword was connected to Gong Honglei's aura, so the sword's destruction also damaged his vitality. His face was pale as he staggered back a few steps and spat out a mouthful of blood. Haha, I want to taste what a sword cultivator tastes like. Xiong Yunhu chewed the six-yang sword and spat it to the side. The large palm flew towards Gong Honglei. Gong Honglei took out a stack of talismans and threw them at the large palm. Boom, 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 boom. Unfortunately to Xiong Yunhu, the damage from these low-level talismans was less than that of a mosquito. Seeing the large palm approaching, Gong Honglei couldn't help but widen his eyes as despair filled his heart. Yi Yuxuan saw that the situation was bad and hurriedly controlled the fire gourd to shoot out several azure flames to block Xiong Yunhu. He knew very well that if Gong Honglei died he would be next. Humph, a mere alchemist dares to stop me? Die. The bloody mist around Xiong Yunhu's body surged again, and he extinguished Yi Yuxuan's flames with a single palm strike. Cracks immediately appeared on Yi Yuxuan's fire gourd, causing him to almost vomit blood in pain. Gong Honglei was about to fall into Xiong Yunhu's hands. At the critical moment, a soft whip wrapped around Gong Honglei's waist and pulled him to the side. Gong Honglei's body slammed into a tree and slumped down weakly. Fallen leaves covered his head and face. He was sure that Yi Jioga did it on purpose. However, even if brother Yi Jio had done it on purpose, he wouldn't dare criticize him. With his previous bad attitude towards Yi Jioga saving his life was already merciful. If he wanted her to treat him gently, then he must be daydreaming. Jioga, let's talk about our past grudges when we get out of here. If you have a way to deal with this evil cultivator, hurry up and say it. At this critical moment, Yi Yuxuan didn't dare to sell his father's dignity and pleaded. If I had a way, I wouldn't be trapped here, Yi Jioga replied snappily. Although she didn't have a way, she knew that Zishang definitely had a way. The situation was critical, so she could only plead with Zishang in a low voice. Please help me one more time. If she let Xiong Yunhu escape, not only would there be endless trouble in the future, but she would also not be able to clear her name. I said that I only have a third of my demon power left, Zishang said coldly. Yi Jioga bit her lower lip. This Xiong Yunhu was extremely dangerous after swallowing the blood beads, so she didn't dare ask Zishang to take the risk for her. If she couldn't do it, then she could only escape first. If she left now, she could still get help and have a chance to save Master Dongfang. As for Yi Yuxuan and Gong Honglei, they could only blame their bad luck for not trusting her. Yi Jioga made up her mind. Just as she was about to ask Zishang to take her away, she heard him say, although I only have a third of my demon power left, if you agree to one of my conditions, I will have a chance to recover all my demon power. What condition? Yi Jioga's spirit was lifted. She knew that Zishang wouldn't be so useless. I heard that a woman's primordial yin is a great tonic. As Zishang spoke, his pair of peach blossom eyes floated towards Yi Jioga. His meaning was self-evident. Yi Jioga was speechless. In the end, this demon snake was still thinking about her body. She wasn't afraid of thieves stealing, but she was afraid of thieves remembering. Forget it, since she couldn't keep it, it was better to give it away earlier. Yi Jioga clenched her teeth and said decisively, fine, I'll give you my primordial yin. So straightforward? Zishang raised his eyebrows in surprise. He had flirted with her so many times, but this little girl refused to comply even if he beat her to death. But I have a condition. I have to wait until I'm 18. Yi Jioga saw Zishang frown and added, I'll be 18 in a month. It won't be hard to wait, right? Okay, I promise you. A month was indeed not hard to wait. In any case, Zishang didn't want to eat her immediately. Also, you have to tell me in advance before sleeping. I can't suddenly fall down. Yi Jioga said very seriously, the first time I have to make some preparations. This time, Zishang was a bit speechless. Shouldn't an ordinary girl blush when talking about this? How could Yi Jioga casually talk about sleeping? He was really too unreserved. However, he liked Yi Jioga's unreserved taste. What, you still want to use force? Yi Jioga frowned. If Zishang had such a perverted hobby, then she would definitely not accompany him. If I don't use force, how can I do it? Zishang couldn't help but laugh. Those peach blossom eyes floated around, almost drilling into Yi Jioga's heart. Rogue. Yi Jioga rolled her eyes. She was sure that Zishang was just teasing her. Forget it, there was still a month. Let's talk about this bed problem later. Just when Yi Jioga and Zishang seemed to be talking about conditions, they were actually flirting. Yi Yuxuan had already been beaten to the point of pissing his pants by Xiong Yunhu. He cried for his parents and said, Jioga, Are you listening to me? No. Yi Jioga coldly replied. She had no feelings for this scumbag father. You. Yi Yuxuan almost blurted out the word sinful girl. Fortunately, he still knew that he was asking for help. He swallowed the words in his throat and then said pitifully, Jioga, no matter what, I'm still your father. Do you really want to watch me die? With that, he hurriedly rolled and dodged Xiong Yunhu's attack. Chapter 203. Before Yi Jioga could reply to Yi Yuxuan, Xiong Yunhu had already started laughing out loud. Yi Yuxuan, oh Yi Yuxuan, it's hard for you to claim to be a pill-dow master. Your skin is actually so thick. Previously, you were shouting and shouting at the city gate, calling her a sinful girl. Now, you're actually asking her to save your life. He could have killed Yi Yuxuan a long time ago. Right now, he was just teasing him to vent his anger. Tieske, this Xiong Yunhu spoke too well. I don't even have the heart to kill him. Yi Jioga sighed regretfully. Xiong Yunhu laughed arrogantly and said, Yi Yuxuan, don't worry. I will definitely bring your evil daughter back to our ancestor to love her. Yi Jioga immediately changed her mind. Forget it, the weather is cold, let him die. She hated those scumbags who kept saying that women were playthings. Let's wait a little longer, Zishang said calmly. What are you waiting for? Yi Jioga didn't understand. There is a time limit for his blood beads. It won't be too late to kill him after he's done playing with him, Zishang said coolly. I can wait, but you must protect Yi Yuxuan and Gong Honglei's lives. That way my contribution will be doubled, Yi Jioga added. Otherwise, if the people of Alchemy City rushed in and saw a pile of corpses, they would blame her again. Sure, Zishang said indifferently. In his eyes, Yi Yuxuan and Gong Honglei were just two ants. Since Xiao Jioga said he would stay, then he would. I've played enough. Die. Xiong Yunhu naturally knew that his blood transformation time was limited. However, he felt that the overall situation was under his control and that no one in Alchemy City was his opponent. This was why he was in the mood to tease Yi Yuxuan and Gong Honglei. Seeing that it was almost time, and the two of them were already half dead, it was time to call it a day. With this thought in mind, Xiong Yunhu shot out two extremely viscous blood swords that flew towards Yi Yuxuan and Gong Honglei. These two blood swords were even more powerful than Lu Yunfei. As long as one was scratched by it, they would immediately turn into two streams of blood and be sucked into the Xiong Yunhu's stomach. Yi Yuxuan collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. He no longer had the strength to dodge the blood sword. Gong Honglei barely raised his arm, but unfortunately, that bit of spirit force couldn't stop the blood sword at all. Quick, save him. Yi Jioga anxiously pulled Zishang's sleeve and said, if they die, then don't blame me for breaking the contract. What's the hurry? Zishang rolled his eyes at Yi Jioga. He lazily raised his hand and opened and closed his jade-white palm. An incomparably powerful aura shot out from his palm. Two whooshing sounds were heard. Yi Yuxuan and Gong Honglei's bodies were like marionettes, flying diagonally backwards. Two blood-red swords pierced through the place where they had just been, creating two large holes. Yi Yuxuan's eyes lit up. He knew that Yi Jioga had saved him. Just as he was about to speak, the world suddenly spun around him, and one of his nostrils seemed to be pierced by something. He took a closer look and found that Gong Honglei's finger was stuck in his nostril, and his smelly foot was right next to Gong Honglei's mouth. The vines wrapped around them tightly and hung them upside down. Such a difficult pose was definitely done by someone with malicious intent. Vulgar. Yi Jioga looked at Yi Yuxuan and Gong Honglei, who were sticking their noses in and smelling their stinky feet. He didn't want to admit that he felt a little refreshed. Who's there? Xiong Yunhu didn't expect that there would be someone hiding under the blood mist, and that he hadn't discovered them. At this moment he remembered that when he was chasing after Yi Jioga, she was also saved by a mysterious person. Xiong Yunhu, you've done all sorts of evil. You colluded with Su Junqing to frame me, and you even caused the deaths of so many people. Surrender. Yi Jioga shouted arrogantly. You think you can make me surrender? Tui. Xiong Yunhu looked berserk on the surface, but his palm moved slightly in secret. An extremely viscous blood mist turned into a poisonous snake, and under the cover of the blood mist, it silently flew towards Yi Jioga. Bang! The blood snake exploded on the spot before it could even get close to Yi Jioga. Xiong Yunhu's heart palpitated again. This time, it was as if a large hand was tightly squeezing his heart. He had never felt like this before. It was the despair of dying. He instantly knew that the mysterious person behind Yi Jioga was not someone he could deal with. He immediately roared, and the blood mist around his body turned into countless sharp swords that shot towards Yi Jioge like a torrential storm. This was his final trump card, the myriad blood arrow. He usually used it to kill his enemies, but this time he used it to escape. Xiong Yunhu didn't even dare to look at the result of using this move. He turned around and rushed towards Dongfang Yao's room. Although it was a pity that he couldn't bring Yi Jioge and the two blood-clothed Miao people back, as long as he brought Dongfang Yao back, he would have completed his mission. He believed that the ancestor wouldn't blame him. Xiong Yunhu's plan was very clear, but before he could fly into Dongfang Yao's room, a strange and powerful force attacked him from behind. He suddenly turned around to meet it with his palm, but it was as if he had hit the air. Be obedient, don't make this sovereign waste his demon power. An ethereal and pleasant voice rang out. Following this, a beautiful and seductive face appeared in the air. Black hair like ink, red lips like blood, and a demonic smile. Especially those pitch-black eyes, which were shrouded in a mysterious light. Those pupils gradually shrank, turning into purple vertical pupils. Countless tiny pupils spun around in his eyes, like a kaleidoscope, dazzling and enchanting. Xiong Yunhu was attracted by those bewitching purple pupils, and he couldn't help but say, "Okay. Good child." Zishang smiled slightly, and his black fingernails grew and suddenly slashed across Xiong Yunhu's neck. With a plop, Xiong Yunhu's head rolled down from his neck. Fresh blood spurted out, dyeing the entire door red and forming a river. Zishang stood in this blood and looked back at Yi Jioge with a smile. His beautiful jade-like face was still stained with a drop of Xiong Yunhu's blood. He looked so beautiful, so moving, bloodthirsty and seductive, it was simply shocking. His beauty carried a heavy killing intent and the domineering aura of a powerhouse that said, "Submit to me and prosper, or oppose me and perish." He attacked Yi Jioge from all directions, leaving her nowhere to run. Yi Jioge's little heart was about to shrink. Why did she feel that after Zishang transformed into his human form, he was even more demonic and terrifying than before when he was in his half-snake form? "Fortunately, I didn't fail you." Zishang returned to Yi Jioge's side. He placed his right hand on his chest and slightly bowed as if he was reporting to his own leader. Yi Jioge came back to her senses, and only then did she realize that Zishang killed the terrifying Xiong Yunhu in one move. She instantly felt like she was tricked and couldn't help but shout, "Didn't you say that you only have 1/3 of your demon power left?" Yes, after killing that Xiong Yunhu, this sovereign didn't have any demon power left. Zishang blinked innocently, and then raised his hand to support his forehead. His body swayed and fell on Yi Jioge's body and said weakly, I can't take it anymore, this sovereign is so dizzy, quickly support me." Chapter 204. Keep pretending. Yi Jioge pushed him twice, but he couldn't push Zishang away. He could only resign himself to his fate and let him stay. "Don't you want to see your spoils?" He didn't forget to give Yi Jioge some benefits. "Oh right." Yi Jioge's eyes brightened as he took Xiong Yunhu's storage pouch. As the head disciple of the Bloodthirst School, this guy must have a lot of good stuff. Yi Jioge had to take a good look later. Yi Jioge put away Xiong Yunhu's pouch and entered the room to check on Grandmaster Dongfang. Xiong Yunhu's blood mist was broken with his death. The Crown Prince Yi Shanshan and Gong Honglei's men, as well as the 4th-ranked alchemists from Alchemy City, Elder Chen and Elder Xiao, all rushed in. The originally beautiful alchemy pavilion had turned into hell. The ground was littered with broken limbs and the stench of blood was nauseating. Grandmaster Yi and young Master Gong are over there. Elder Chen's sharp eyes immediately saw the half-dead Yi Yuxuan and Gong Honglei hanging from a tree. "Grandmaster Yi, young Master Gong, are you two all right?" Everyone rushed to save them. "Brother Honglei, where did Yi Jioge go?" The Crown Prince squeezed in front of Gong Honglei and asked while reaching out to help him. Gong Honglei avoided the Crown Prince's hand and stood up with his trusted sword boy's shoulder. He coldly said, "Young Miss Yi is protecting Grandmaster Dongfang. If it wasn't for her, Grandmaster Yi, Grandmaster Dongfang, and I would have been dead by now." "What did you say?" "Yi Jioge was protecting Grandmaster Dongfang and she even saved you? Are you joking?" The Crown Prince raised his voice, wondering if Gong Honglei's head was broken. "I'm not joking, Yi Jioge is not the leader of the heretics. She has always been protecting us, Grandmaster Dongfang, and all of Alchemy City. On the other hand, Dongfang Jiaming, you are the one who is distorting the truth and putting the blame on Yi Jioge. You misled me to deal with her and almost killed a good person." Gong Honglei roared at the Crown Prince. "Gong Honglei, who are you talking to?" The crown prince's face turned red from anger. Other than his father, no one dared to call him by his name. Of course I know who I'm talking to. You're the B*TCH who let Xiong Yunhu in and caused Master Dongfang to be poisoned. What the F***ck are your intentions? Gong Honglei was still scared when he recalled the scene just now. He was so close to dying on the spot. He was about to lose his life, so why would he care about who the crown prince was? Of course he would scold him as he pleased. The crown prince was so enraged by Gong Honglei that his face and neck turned red. He loosened and clenched his fists on the verge of exploding. Alright, everyone, stop talking. Xiong Yunhu is extremely well hidden, and His Highness the Crown Prince didn't let him in on purpose. Let's hurry up and go in to see Master Dongfang. Yi Yuxuan struggled to stand up. Father, is it really Yi No big sister who killed that evil cultivator and saved you? Yi Shanshan and the Crown Prince stood at the entrance of the alchemy pavilion. That blood-red light was extremely terrifying. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't blast it away. One could only imagine how terrifying the evil cultivator who laid down this layer of bloody light was. She did not believe that Yi Jioga could kill such an evil cultivator. If Yi Jioga really had that kind of ability, he wouldn't have been forced to surrender. Although she didn't personally kill him, the expert who did it must have a great relationship with her. When you go in later, you must be very respectful. Don't anger the expert. Yi Yuxuan warned Yi Shanshan sternly. He was hanging upside down on the tree just now, so he couldn't see very clearly. He only saw a purple shadow flash where Yi Jioga was, and 5 breaths later, Xiong Yunhu's head fell to the ground. The whole process happened in the blink of an eye, so fast that it was unimaginable. It was like a dream. He didn't see the expert's appearance clearly. He only saw Yi Jioga casually put away Xiong Yunhu's storage bag. Only then did he believe that the expert and Yi Jioga had an affair, or else he wouldn't have allowed her to plunder his spoils of war. Yes, I understand. Yi Shanshan replied obediently. An expert that even her father admired was definitely not a simple person. If she tried to rope him in, he would definitely be of great use. Master Yi, is that expert really that powerful? The crown prince had been rejected by Gong Honglei, so he could only come to Yi Yuxuan to inquire about the news. Young Master Gong and I were beaten by Xiong Yunhu without any ability to fight back. That expert made Xiong Yunhu's head fall to the ground in one move. Do you think he's powerful? Yi Yuxuan said with emotion. If he had known that Yi Jioga knew such an expert, he definitely wouldn't have kicked Yi Jioga out of the house. However, since Yi Jioga was willing to save him, it meant that she still cared about their father-daughter relationship. No matter what, he was still her father. As long as he coaxed her a bit, she should let bygones be bygones. Yi Yuxuan was busy calculating, so he didn't notice the crown prince's panicked expression and guilty eyes. Su Junqing used the excuse that Xiong Yunhu was a level 2 alchemist and was very good at curing strange poisons, so he asked the crown prince to recommend him to take care of Master Dongfang. At that time, Old Qin and Old Xiao strongly objected, feeling that they shouldn't let outsiders take care of Master Dongfang. It was because of his solemn pledge that Old Qin and Old Xiao allowed Xiong Yunhu to enter the alchemy pavilion. Now that Xiong Yunhu's identity as an evil cultivator was exposed, he and Su Junqing would be in danger. In that case, Su Junqing didn't disappear at all, but ran away when he found out that the matter was exposed. That damn piece of trash had really caused him so much trouble. Gong Honglei was already suspicious of the crown prince, so he had been secretly observing his expression. Seeing that his expression changed again and again, without any joy of killing the evil cultivator and finding the real culprit, he knew that the crown prince was guilty. Maybe his sister's death was also related to him. Because when he came to the alchemy city, he personally asked Dongfang Jiaming to take care of his sister, and his sister also replied that the crown prince was very close to her. Thinking of this, Gong Honglei wanted to kill Dongfang Jiaming. However, after the evil stand just now, he had exhausted his spiritual power, and the Six-Yang sword was also destroyed. If he acted rashly, he was afraid that he would beat the grass and alert the enemy. He could only suppress the anger in his heart and coldly said to the crown prince, "Put other things aside, the most important thing now is the safety of Master Dongfang." Young Master Gong is right, let's quickly go in and see Master Dongfang. Old Qin and Old Xiao quickly nodded. Although they were level 4 alchemists, they usually only cultivated and never cared about worldly things. So after Master Dongfang and Li Zijuan fell, they left everything to the Crown Prince and Zhang Peng to deal with. They didn't expect that the Crown Prince and Zhang Peng would make a mess of things, so they had to personally take care of it. Chapter 205. The Crown Prince, Yi Yuxuan, Yi Shanshan, Gong Honglei, Elder Chen, Elder Xiao, and the others squeezed into the room. After passing through the outer hall and entering the inner room, they saw Yi Jioge sitting in front of Master Dongfang's bed. She was calmly taking his pulse with a solemn expression on her beautiful face. Behind her stood a breathtakingly beautiful man dressed in a light purple robe. When he saw the crowd enter, he put a white finger to his rosy lips and made a shushing gesture. It was a simple action, but it was incomparably enchanting and magical. It was so beautiful that it was suffocating. Everyone couldn't help but hold their breaths and stare at him in a daze. Yi Shanshan stood dumbfounded on the spot. She didn't expect there to be such a seductive man in the world. Although the Crown Prince was considered a dragon among men and was extraordinarily handsome, compared to the man in front of her, the difference was like the clouds and mud. Yi Shanshan felt her heart pounding. It was about to fly out of her mouth and fall into the man's hands. Yi Shanshan wasn't the only one who thought this. Even the Crown Prince and Gong Honglei were head over heels for Zishang. He thought to himself, no wonder there are gay men in this world. Such a beautiful man, he would even be willing to kneel at his feet. After Yi Jioge finished taking Master Dongfang's pulse, she looked up and saw a large group of people staring at Zishang. She couldn't help but fake a few coughs and give Zishang a warning look. You know you're a monster, so don't release your hormones. It will cause trouble for me. Zishang smiled at Yi Jioge as if to say, I know, my charm will only bloom for you. The two of them exchanged flirtatious glances with each other. Only then did everyone wake up from Zishang's enchantment. Yi Shanshan tidied up her hair and shyly bowed to Zishang. She used her most pleasant voice to ask, May I ask for your name, master? Zishang didn't reply. Instead, he lowered his head and asked Yi Jioge, What do you think I should call you? Whatever you like. Why are you asking me? Yi Jioge felt very unhappy after receiving Yi Shanshan's hatred. I'm your guard, so I naturally have to listen to you. Please give me a name, Mississippi. Zishang's voice was very gentle. Bestow your head to hell. Yi Jioge didn't think that he had the face to give Zishang a name, so he said perfunctorily, If it's convenient for you to call me by your original name, then just call me by your original name. Yi Jioge had considered that Zishang had always been secretive and could not be seen, so he gave him a way out. Alright, I'll take your surname then. I'll be called Yi Zi. Zishang smiled. The name of the Yaoma could not be easily revealed to others. In this world, besides Yi Jioge, no one was worthy of calling him by his name. Yi Zi isn't bad either. Yi Jioge nodded perfunctorily, then said to Yi Shanshan, who was completely stunned, Did you hear that? His name is Yi Zi. Yi Shanshan didn't expect this handsome man to be so loyal to Yi Jioge. He even wanted her to give him a name. Her heart felt like it was being stabbed by a knife. So, the master's name is Yi Zi. Yi Yuxuan immediately let out a hearty laugh and said, Thank you for taking care of my little girl Jioge. Since you chose to have the same surname as us, we'll be family from now on. Who's family with you? Grandmaster Yi, don't forget that we're no longer related. Yi Jioge said with a straight face. Jioge, what happened before was father's fault. Father already knows that he was wrong. Please forgive father this once. Yi Yuxuan pulled down his old face and begged. Grandmaster Yi, how could I dare to be angry at you? Even if I'm not angry, you want my life. If I'm really angry, I'll be poisoned to death by you in the middle of the night. Yi Jioge sneered. It's all my fault. You can scold me however you want as long as you're still willing to recognize me as your father. Yi Yuxuan was in a sorry state. He was covered in mud and had a head injury. He used such a humble and pitiful tone to beg Yi Jioge. Everyone who saw it felt that Yi Jioge was too heartless. Yi Jioge was also very helpless against Yi Yuxuan's thick skin. In the past, Yi Yuxuan would fling his sleeves and walk away if he used words to pressure him. Now he was completely shameless. He wanted to beat him up, but he couldn't find an excuse to do so. It was really sullen. Jioge. Yi Yuxuan wanted to continue, but he saw Zishang raise his hand. His body involuntarily flew in front of Zishang. Zishang grasped the air and lifted Yi Yuxuan up. Yi Yuxuan's face turned purple as he struggled with all his might. He grabbed at his neck with both hands, trying to break free from the force that was strangling his neck, but it was useless. Yi Zi, just teach him a lesson. Don't make it seem like you're resigned to your fate. Yi Jioge's tone was indifferent, fully showing her heartlessness towards Yi Yuxuan. Yes. Zishang replied gently. He raised his hand and threw Yi Yuxuan out. Yi Yuxuan flew out like a kite with a broken string. He hung on a tree and fainted. Father. Yi Shanshan screamed and pointed at Yi Jioge angrily. Big sister, even if father is in the wrong, he is still our father. Have you forgotten the kindness of giving birth to us? How dare you do such a vicious thing to father? You, Yi Shanshan's words were stuck in her throat. No matter what she said, she couldn't say it. She looked at Zishang with wide eyes in horror. She couldn't believe that he would treat her like this. Noisy. Zishang calmly retracted his hand, then looked around and asked softly, "Who else?" The people who were swept by his gaze felt like frogs being stared at by a poisonous snake. They couldn't help but shiver and couldn't say a word. They all shook their heads desperately. What a joke. This was the person who killed Xiong Yunhu in one move. Moreover, he didn't even give face to Yi Jioga's father, Yi Yushuan. Who would dare to be impudent in front of him? Alright, stop scaring people. You're tired. Go and rest. Yi Jioga patted Zishang's arm in satisfaction. It wouldn't be good if he acted too much and caused public anger. Yes. Zishang gave him face and replied. He restrained his aura and took a step back. He was clearly still standing there, but inexplicably he didn't seem to exist. An expert. He was definitely an expert. This strange move made Elder Chen, Elder Xiao, and the others even more shocked. They couldn't figure out Zishang's background and were even more afraid of Yi Jioga. Whoa. Yi Shanshan, who had been forgotten by everyone, pointed at Yi Jioga and then at her throat, asking Yi Jioga to save her. If you take Grandmaster Yi away now, I will consider giving you a chance to speak. Yi Jioga's tone was very calm, but everyone could hear the threat in it. Yi Shanshan gritted her teeth and looked at Zishang bitterly. In the end, she turned around and took Yi Yushuan away from the tree. Alright everyone. Let's talk about Grandmaster Dongfang now. Yi Jioga smiled faintly and turned everyone's attention back to him. Chapter 206. Yes, miss, how is Master Dongfang's injury? Elder Qin and Elder Xiao asked. Master Dongfang has been poisoned by a rare poison. It was created by the ancestor of the bloodthirsty sect using his own blood and the Frost Spider King's poison. I don't have a way to cure it right now. Yi Jioga added, the Frost Spider King's poison is unique to the bloodthirsty sect. Dongfang K was poisoned by that very same poison. Everyone was in an uproar when they heard this. Miss Yi, since you can recognize this poison, you must have a way to cure it. As long as you tell us, you can name any condition you want. Elder Qin said anxiously. That's right, young Miss Yi. Grandmaster Dongfang is not only our Alchemy City's city lord, he is also the only 6th-ranked alchemist in our Thunder Country. If anything were to happen to him, our Thunder Country would be shaken. Elder Xiao pleaded with a bitter expression. If Master Dongfang died, Alchemy City would be gone as well. Although I can't cure Master Dongfang's poison, I can help him alleviate it. Yi Jioga said slowly. Please speak, Miss Yi. Elder Qin and Elder Zhao's eyes lit up. But the cure isn't with me, it's with my companions. You guys were so loud last night that they probably won't dare come. It was impossible for Yi Jioga not to hold a grudge after being forced into such a state by his idiotic companions. Miss Yi, we were instigated by scoundrels to blame good people. Please be magnanimous and forgive us. Yes, miss, we're willing to apologize. Miss, Master Dongfang never doubted you. Everyone apologized at the same time. There's no point in begging me. I don't have the cure. Yi Jioga stood up. His clear eyes swept across the crowd and he said coldly, you guys think of a way to invite my companions back. I'll give Master Dongfang the medicine whenever they return. Yi Jioga, how dare you joke around with my uncle's life? Aren't you afraid that he'll blame you later? The Crown Prince said angrily. Worry about yourself. Yi Jioga looked at the Crown Prince as if he was looking at a dead man. You. The Crown Prince wanted to scold him again, but he was stopped by Elder Qin. This is our fault, so we should apologize. Don't worry, eldest Mississippi. We will ask your companions to come back and save Master Dongfang with the most sincere attitude. I'll send someone to post an imperial notice right now to announce the contributions of the young miss and her companion to Alchemy City. That's right, we'll pull up a banner and apologize to the city gate. As long as they forgive us, we'll let them hit us as they please. How can we just talk and not act? I think we should just carry a thorn and ask for punishment. Yes, please accept my humble apology. Elder Qin and Elder Xiao nodded. Offering a humble apology is a good idea, but it depends on who is doing it. Yi Jioga's gaze fell upon the Crown Prince. His meaning was obvious. Audacious. I am the Crown Prince of the Thunder Country. Who dares to ask for my humble apologies? The Crown Prince bellowed out. Your Royal Highness, why are you still putting on airs at a time like this? He didn't think that Elder Qin and Elder Xiao wouldn't be afraid of him at all. On the contrary, they raised their necks and shouted, if you didn't lead the wolf into the house, Master Dongfang wouldn't have been harmed by a heretic. Let me tell you, asking for a humble apology is a light punishment. If anything happens to Master Dongfang, just wait to see His Imperial Majesty with your head. The Crown Prince was trembling with anger, but he knew that Elder Qin and Elder Xiao were telling the truth. His father had many sons. If he were to die, another would be the Crown Prince. However, his uncle was the only sixth-ranked alchemist in the entire Thunder Country. If he were to die, there would be nothing left. Fine, for the sake of saving my uncle, I am willing to offer my humble apology. The Crown Prince was a flexible person, so he immediately lowered his head. Elder Qin and Elder Zhao's expressions softened as they praised, that's right. When Master Dongfang wakes up, we will tell you everything we did for him. Thank you. The Crown Prince cupped his hands. He suddenly felt that offering a humble apology wasn't a bad idea. At the very least, it gave him a chance to redeem himself. There's no time to lose. Everyone please go ahead. Yi Jiuge was determined to follow them. Elder Qin, Elder Xiao, and the others were extremely fast. The Imperial Board, banners, and vines were quickly prepared. The Imperial Board was plastered all over the streets and alleys of Alchemy City. There were even soldiers sent to patrol the streets. Everyone, including the Crown Prince, tied the vines around their necks and carried the banners towards the city gate. Outside of Alchemy City on a small hill, Bai Songling stared at the city gate. His mind was constantly thinking about how to sneak in and save the young miss. Why don't I go in and take a look? Yi Yu moved closer to him. Forget it. Your injuries haven't healed yet. There's no point in going in. Don't go in again. Plus, Xiang still needs your care. Bai Songling shook his head. He wasn't familiar with Luo Tian and Juni Chen, so he was too embarrassed to ask them to take care of him. The treasure-seeking scorpion waved its pincers, wanting to volunteer to go in and take a look. Unfortunately, there was no one here who could understand its beast language, so it was useless even though it was a hero. Look, there's movement at the top of the wall. Luo Tian stood up and focused his attention on the wall. Looks like a banner. Bai Songling saw it and nervously said, don't tell me they want to threaten us again. No. Luo Tian's eyesight was good enough to see the words on the banner. He read it out loud, young Miss Yi and her companions are the benefactors of Alchemy City. We wrongly accused good people and deserve to die 10,000 times over. We are here to offer our humble apologies. Oh, there really are people carrying vines. Isn't that Elder Qin and Elder Xiao, fourth-rank alchemists from Alchemy City? Damn, Dongfang jamming is here as well. This can't be a trap, right? Bai Songling's group was in a heated discussion. They didn't dare to believe these people until Yi Jiuge's arrogant voice came from the top of the wall. They have already apologized, everyone come back. Young Miss is too amazing, how did she do it? Bai Songling's eyes widened. Last night, they were forced into a miserable state by the Crown Prince and Alchemy City's people. Today they came to offer their humble apologies. This was too fantastical. If young Miss wasn't amazing, she wouldn't be our young Mississippi. Yi Yu smiled. Everyone don't let your guard down. Be careful of traps. Luo Tian cautiously said. After years of being chased, he wouldn't easily trust others under any circumstances. Luo Tian is right. How about this, Yi Yu, you stay here and take care of Xiang. The three of us will go in and take a look. Bai Songling stuffed Lu Yunfei's storage pouch into Yi Yu's hands. Just as he was about to nag, he heard Yi Jiuge's voice coming from afar. Why are you all dilly-dallying? It turned out that Yi Jiuge had been waiting at the top of the wall for a long time. Seeing that Bai Songling's group didn't show up, he simply jumped down to look for them. Zishang casually followed behind Yi Jiuge and appeared in front of Bai Songling's group with an arm around her shoulder. Chapter 207. Missy, this is? Yi Yu squinted at Zishang's slender and powerful palm on Yi Jiuge's shoulder. Such a possessive posture meant that the relationship between this devilishly handsome man and Missy was not simple. This is Yi Zi, my guard. Yi Jiuge's shoulder shook off Zishang's restless claw. She glared at Zishang as a warning. Which guard dared to touch Missy's shoulder? Was he courting death? Zishang's lips curled up, he was well behaved. When did Missy get such a guard? Why haven't we seen him before? Bai Songling looked at Zishang cautiously. Such a devilishly handsome man was definitely not normal. Could he be sent by a heretical cultivator? This is a long story. Yi Jioge scratched his face. He could not possibly say that Zishang was her creditor, right? Missy, there's no hurry. We have plenty of time. Yi Yu's voice was gentle but firm. Bai Songling nodded. Luo Tian and Juni Chen did not speak, but they were avoiding Zishang. It was obvious that they did not trust him. Yi Jioge had a headache. Looking at Bai Songling's attitude, it would be hard to pass without an explanation. However, Zishang was in the limelight this time. She had to think of a reasonable identity for him, or else it would be troublesome when she returned to Shangjing. She could not help but look at Zishang, hoping that he could give her some hints. Zishang raised his brows as he looked at her, looking like a king waiting for orders. Missy, is there something you can't say? The more Bai Songling looked, the more she felt that something was wrong. Heretical cultivators were extremely cunning, just look at Lu Yunfei. This handsome man called Yizi looked like a monster. His skills were probably even more profound. Missy might already be under his control. Bai Songling gave Yi Yu and Luo Tian a look. The three of them moved lightly and surrounded Zishang. At the same time, Xiaohong, Black Tyrant, and Big Mouth flew up. Even the treasure-seeking scorpion quietly crawled under Zishang's feet, preparing to launch an attack. Zishang's rosy lips curled up slightly. His dark eyes flashed with a teasing light. That mischievous look was so charming that Yi Jioge's heart could not help but tremble. He was not charmed but scared. Zishang's fingers moved slightly, and an imperceptible force spread out. Don't mess around. Yi Jioge widened his eyes and stretched out his hand. Unfortunately, it was too late. The goo worm Xiaohong screeched and flew back to Luo Tian's body like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Lil Red curled up in Luo Tian's arms and shivered. It cried and said, I'm just a little worm. Black Tyrant and Big Mouth were also so frightened that they squirmed in Yi Yu and Bai Songling's clothes. Black Overlord, what's wrong? Yi Yu frantically pacified his goo worm. Big Mouth, get out here. Big Mouth scurried all over Bai Songling's body. It was so itchy that Bai Songling felt uncomfortable all over. He reached out to grab Big Mouth back. He didn't expect Big Mouth to be so flustered that he went into Bai Songling's pants. Bai Songling was so scared that he almost screamed. Yi Jioge held his forehead and looked at the chaotic scene helplessly. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. She lifted her foot and stomped on Zishang's foot. Zishang moved his feet, and Yi Jioge stepped on the head of the treasure-seeking scorpion that had just emerged. The treasure-seeking scorpion wanted to attack, but its master stepped on it. Heartbroken, it flew back to the female scorpion's side to seek comfort. Young miss, who is he? Bai Songling angrily covered Big Mouth's moving mouth. He was actually sent by my grandfather to protect me. After Yi Jioge said this, he suddenly thought of a perfect idea. Grandfather couldn't show himself for some reason, so he sent him to protect me in secret. I was able to recover my cultivation and appearance because of him. He had always been hiding in the dark. This time, because the heretic cultivator is too powerful, I asked him to come out and help. Yi Jioge finished in one breath. Without waiting for Bai Songling and the others to ask, he immediately changed the topic. How is Big Brother 1? Is he okay? Bai Songling was a straightforward person. She immediately fell for Yi Jioge's trick. She honestly replied, I have already fed him the antidote for the muscle softening powder. He woke up once last night, but now he has fallen asleep again. I'll go take a look. Yi Jioge followed Bai Songling to the back of the small slope. He saw that Wan Ziang was still lying on the stretcher, but his complexion looked much better than yesterday. Yi Jioge felt his pulse again and nodded. He's fine, but his body is still a bit weak. He needs to eat something good to nourish himself. Where can we find something good to nourish him in this damn place? Bai Songling scratched her head. I was about to tell you about this. Grandmaster Dongfang was poisoned by the bloodthirsty sect's king poison. The people from Alchemy City want us to go back and help him detoxify it. Yi Jioge stopped. No wonder they are all holding banners on the city wall asking for forgiveness. Bai Songling suddenly realized. Then let's hurry. Right, young miss, this is your bag. See if anything is missing. Yi Yu took out the bag that Yi Jioge gave her for safekeeping. Yi Jioge glanced around. The fat black rat, the treasure-seeking scorpion couple were all there. The bronze cauldron and other things were also there. She nodded. Nothing is missing. Then she remembered something else. Right, where is Yu Dai? We secretly sent Yu Dai back to the stronghold of Alchemy City last night. Bai Songling said. It wasn't easy for a group of men to take care of a little girl, so they secretly sent her back. If they hadn't agreed to meet up with Yi Jioga outside the city, they would have wanted to stay in the city. Alright, let's go. Yi Jioga hurried back to Alchemy City with Bai Songling and the others. Elder Qin, Elder Xiao, and the Crown Prince were still anxiously waiting on the city wall. When they saw Yi Jioga's group heading straight for the Alchemy Pavilion, they quickly ran down the wall and followed. Yi Jioga returned to Grandmaster Dongfang's house and chased everyone out. Then she had Bai Songling, Yi Yu and Luo Tian guard the door, leaving only Juni Chen and Zishang behind. Little mute, can your goo detoxify Grandmaster Dongfang's poison? Yi Jioga pointed at the master. Juni Chen went forward and carefully examined Grandmaster Dongfang's eyelids. Then he pricked his finger and tasted the blood. How is it? Yi Jio was a little nervous. If Little Mute's goo couldn't suppress the Spider King's poison, then she couldn't think of any other way. If it's just the Snow Spider King's poison, my poisonous Earth Dragon goo can still detoxify it. But after adding the blood essence of the bloodthirsty ancestor, it's beyond the range of those goo. Little Mute shook his head. What if I can force out a part of the poison in Grandmaster Dongfang's body? Yi Jioga's Thunderfire Needle could only force out a bit of the poison. The most important part still needed the poisonous Earth Dragon goo to detoxify it. Let's give it a try. Juni Chen looked like he was trying to save a dead horse. Alright, incubate the goo first and get ready. Yi Jioga took out the Thunderfire Needle and pierced it into Grandmaster Dongfang's body. Then she injected spiritual energy to detoxify the poison. Grandmaster Dongfang's meridians were like mud. The Thunderfire Needle had a hard time moving inside. Yi Jioga had only driven it half a circle, and she was already sweating profusely. Her spiritual energy was running out. She was about to take out a spirit recovery pill. Zishang suddenly reached out and took it. Chapter 208. What are you doing? Yi Jioga reached out to grab the pill. Zishang threw the pill into his mouth and said, I'll give you something better. With that, he placed his palm on Yi Jioga's back and a wave of pure spiritual power surged in. The stilled Thunderfire Needle immediately spurted out like it was injected with chicken blood. It instantly passed through several meridians in Master Dongfang's body. Why are you suddenly helping me? Yi Jioga looked at Zishang vigilantly. This guy was a demon that wouldn't do anything without benefits. It was too suspicious for him to help her for no reason at all. Because I'm in a good mood today, so I'll give you some benefits. Zishang wouldn't tell Yi Jioga that he was making his presence known. Yi Jioga still had some doubts, but with Zishang's help the healing effect was very obvious. She didn't refuse. Soon, the Thunderfire Needle completed one cycle in Master Dongfang's meridians and flew out of his Baihui point. Little Mute, use your goo. Yi Jioga stopped. Juni Chen rolled up his sleeves and a large black dot flew out of his arm. Then it turned into a very beautiful pink caterpillar with a round head and entered Master Dongfang's body. Why is it pink? Yi Jioga asked in surprise. This is the only mother goo in this batch. If it wasn't for the emergency he wouldn't have taken it out. He had been raising goo for so many years, but this was the first time he had raised a mother goo. It's pretty? Yi Jioga was a bit moved. A pink caterpillar was filled with the heart of a girl. It was very suitable for her. Don't talk and watch the old man, Juni Chen said solemnly. The black energy on Master Dongfang's face faded bit by bit. It seemed that the pink caterpillar was starting to work. At this time, Juni Chen suddenly asked, the people from Alchemy City treated you so badly, why did you still save him? First, Master Dongfang has always been helping me. He's not a bad person. Second, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Master Dongfang was hurt so badly by bloodthirsty ancestor that the two are mortal enemies. Helping him is the same as fighting against bloodthirsty ancestor. Yi Jioga explained simply. You really believe this old man can deal with bloodthirsty ancestor? Juni Chen glanced at Master Dongfang in disdain. No matter how he looked at it, he was defeated so easily by the bloodthirsty sect. He is the only level 6 alchemist in the Thunder Nation. He has friends all over the world. If he can't deal with it he will find a helper. Yi Jioga was very confident in the old man Dongfang Yao. You have a point, Juni Chen said thoughtfully. While Yi Jioga was talking to Juni Chen, his eyes never left Master Dongfang. She found that after the black aura on his face had subsided to his neck, it suddenly surged back at an even faster speed than before, like a flood breaking through a dam. What's going on? Yi Jioga hurriedly sealed the black gas with a needle and asked Juni Chen. That insect queen can't cure his poison, Juni-chan said coldly. Damn it. Yi could not help but bite his lower lip as he subconsciously looked at Zishang. It was said that this guy was in a good mood today. Maybe he would give her an idea for free. Unexpectedly, Zishang's eyelids were half-lidded and his breathing was steady. He had actually fallen asleep while standing. Yi looked away gloomily. Sure enough, she could not count on this unreliable guy. She had to rely on herself. Yi swallowed a spirit recovery pill and was about to continue using the Thunderfire needle to detoxify Master Dongfang when she heard Juni-chan say coldly, "This old man better be able to deal with the bloodthirsty ancestor." After saying that, his abdomen rose and fell violently. He suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a golden insect. This insect was about the size of a thumb and looked like a beetle. It had the head of an insect, but it had a human face. Upon closer inspection, it looked somewhat similar to Juni-chan. Other than the human face, the black dots on the beetle's wings were also human faces. They were densely packed, layer upon layer, flickering in and out of existence. It was very strange and scary. "Is this your natal goo? You even managed to cultivate a human face." Yi was shocked. The Blood Cloak Miao tribe's cultivation method was very strange. They focused on the integration of human and goo. They devoted their entire lives to cultivating caterpillars into human-shaped insects. It was said that when the human-shaped insects successfully cultivated, they would become their second incarnation. The body would be indestructible and indestructible, comparable to immortality. If I hadn't been injured by that dog bloodthirsty ancestor, I wouldn't have just cultivated a human face, I would have cultivated a human head, the natal goo said unhappily as it flapped its wings. That voice was exactly the same as Juni-chan's. After spitting out the natal goo, Juni-chan had become a real mute. He made a gesture to the natal goo with a straight face. "What are you rushing me for? I am the king of goo. I usually eat the most poisonous things in the world. Now I have to suck the blood of an old man to detoxify him. How miserable." The natal goo muttered as it flew to Master Dongfang's neck. Then it opened its mouth, revealing its sharp white teeth, and bit down on the blood vessels on the neck. The natal goo's attack was much more powerful than the pink caterpillar. The black gas on Master Dongfang's face dissipated like a receding tide, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. The pink caterpillar wobbled out of Master Dongfang's mouth. Its body had grown 3 times its original size, and it was so fat that it had turned into a pink ball. It flew up and down and finally fell to the ground with a thud. It bounced and rolled to the corner of the table. "It'll be fine, right?" Yi said as he picked up the round pink caterpillar. "It has sucked too much poisonous blood, it can't live." Juni-chan gestured to Yi with a straight face. "Can you give it a spirit beast pill?" Yi felt it was a pity. After all, it was a hero and a rare female insect. It was too trustworthy to die like this. "You can try, but the possibility is not high." Juni-chan waved his hand and ignored Yi. "Then let's try." Yi still had a lot of spirit beast pills. He took out 2 and crushed one to feed it. The fat pink caterpillar was already stuffed to death, but when it saw the good stuff, it forced itself to swallow it. His round belly immediately bulged out again as if he had a hernia. Yi was really afraid that it would die. After feeding it one, he put away the other one. Then he stretched out his fingers and massaged its belly to help it absorb. The pink caterpillar showed a comfortable expression, and with its fat belly, it fell asleep. After eating and sleeping, this pink caterpillar was quite carefree. Yi smiled and massaged the pink caterpillar while watching Juni-chan detoxify Master Dongfang. You're tuning in to the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.